Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, Ril Dil Quinn. On this 9th of February 2022, episode 809 of the Real Deal podcast. As always, I am joined here by one Robert Sapp as we look ahead at the last game of the NFL season, Super Bowl 56. Robert Sapp, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here talking football.
So we are finally here. Of course, due to the scheduling and the longest season in NFL history, the Super Bowl is not going to be till February 13th, which is, of course, the latest that has ever been.
Okay.
Um,
I was tripping. I thought I was tripping. I was like, it wasn't the same time like this last year.
no, you weren't tripping.
Was
You
the
weren't
week
tripping. I
7?
mean, normally we were. I mean, the NFL schedule is basically a couple weeks behind from that standpoint because normally the conference championships are around Martin Luther King's birthday on that weekend. So that's normally the case. That of course again with the NFL season again with the extra week, with the extra week and what have you. So NFL season is in essence a couple weeks behind from that standpoint. But this is again easily the latest that the NFL has ever played into February. Of course, they built that weekend anyway because just in case um, with COVID and what have you. But the bottom line is we know that once the playoffs started, and the NBA will do this as well. Nobody, they're not testing. Nobody said like nobody. Don't worry about your favorite player, Joe Burrow, coming down with COVID. It's not happening. And no one's testing. They're not testing. Trust me. So that will not be an issue. Um, Before we get into Super Bowl narratives, you've had some time now to process these games. It's Wednesday. Um, what are some of your thoughts of this game? What fascinates you the most about this particular about this game and this matchup?
I'm really glad you phrased it that way because my thoughts are I have no clue and I'm infinitely fascinated because I have no clue how this game is going to go. Um, it has been interesting, even though the lead up is about to really heat up now. But it's been interesting to listen to all of the different commentary, and the kind of like the bullet points that you have are pretty much summed up. But it's all about the intangible stuff and not about the tangible because nobody knows what this matchup will specifically look like on the field. And honestly, I don't even think the teams know exactly what this matchup is going to look like on the field because there's so many unknowns. You have two quarterbacks that have never ever played in this game before, and so you never ever know how someone is going to react to that amount of pressure. Uh, the dynamic here is amazing. You have one team that is all in, desperate to win the Super Bowl, just flat out. And you have another team that doesn't even know what's going on. Or I mean, just playing football. They're just playing. Um, and it's that dynamic and seeing kind of like which intangible style, for lack of a better word, actually manifests itself the quickest will be fascinating to watch. But then I think about like something like the Patriots and the Seahawks Super Bowl where teams got double digit leads and and kept coming back. And I think one thing that you have seen from the Bengals um, throughout the season is that you can never count them out. I've wanted to count them out so many times, and you couldn't. They just were there, well, kept being there. And when you look at both of these teams, just this is talent that jumps off the page on both sides. Just flash players all over the place, and so you not only have the dynamic of the intangibles, but you just have the absolute megawattage star power or flash power that exists between these two teams. And so, in my mind's eye, the only disappointing scenario is if this game is like the Patriots Rams Super Bowl. Like some weird, just like 3-9 game. Like, what is even going on? That's the only way this is disappointing, because I don't think that you can count either team out, particularly the Bengals. And I don't believe any lead is safe with either of these teams. And because the players are so flash and just jump off the page, the thing that is missing for both teams at large parts of the season is the consistency of play. And so you can just see this tinderbox of a Super Bowl developing. And you just hope that it actually catches fire and we see some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I'm very into this game. I really was. I really got excited about this game, preparing for the podcast and reading some stuff and looking at the seasons, everything that led up to this game with these two seasons. Remembering some of the podcasts that we did in regards to just leaving both. At one point, I left. I'm sure I left. We both left both these teams for dead at one point in the season.
Absolutely.
And I look back and laugh at that. It was because I was like, we had a reason to, based on, the Rams and their whole ordeal, what they were doing, and the play calling, and Stafford being Stafford, and then Cincinnati losing to the Jets and getting smoked by the Chargers. And it's like, they just talented but not ready. And now, I mean, the matchup is just like, there's a beginning and end to this matchup. And what I mean by that, you touched on it a bit, like with Cincinnati, we could be on the verge of something special, of a team that could run the league for the next 5 or 10 years or so. Like that is a real thing.
The question that just keeps swirling in my mind is, what if Joe Burrow is great?
Yes. What if he beyond great? What if he's that dude? Like what if he is that dude? Yeah, that's that without question. And then you look at the Rams in terms of the end. This is it. This is what you put all these draft picks, and this is all these moves. This is what you are getting what you paid for. You signed out, you sold out for this moment, home Super Bowl, everything. You getting good OBJ, you getting Von Miller at looking Von Millerish. This is it. You like, you don't win it this year, then it's like yeah. Like
they built to last.
Yes, they're not no, they're not built to last.
Nope.
They're not built to last. So it's like, you think what was a team? I'm trying to think of a team that took their shot for like that 1 year and actually won it.
1994 San Francisco 49ers.
Yes. That's a perfect one. Yup. They went all. They didn't give a shit about the cap. They got Dion. They went all. And when I mean
all about beating the Cowboys. They did. All in. The Cowboys championship game, Super Bowl's ours.
Yep. Yes. Yep. It was all about right. It was all about beating the Cowboys, because back then that was the de facto Super Bowl for like.
That's the one where the Chargers made it in there with Means and
they destroyed. That's that one, right? The 95 season, the 95.
They would have smoked Pittsburgh.
The 94 season, right? Cowboys came back and won 95. 94 season, yes. That was that. They went out.
They were loaded. They were
loaded. Folks, go back and look at that roster. Loaded.
And they had to get that stack to beat the Cowboys, because the Cowboys were stacked.
Stacked, exactly. So, yeah, they're like just again, it's like a great boxing match. What makes a great boxing match? The contrast of styles, and contrast. And not only there's a contrast of styles of play, there's a contrast in again where these organizations how they've done it. Like Cincinnati, Cincinnati has made they had a great free agent signings over the course of the season. Their general manager, they nailed it. They nailed every free agent that they hit on this last offseason. But, they drafted Joe Burrow, you draft Jamar Chase, Mixon, you draft Joe Mixon. So they've hit on their first round picks of late. Rams could give two shits about first round picks. They it's like whatever. Like we don't do first round picks.
2024.
Yep. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
2024.
The
2022, by the way.
The Sean McVay, Zach Taylor, that plot line, he was the guy, his quarterback's coach.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just a fascinating matchup. And again, to your point, it's emblematic of what this NFL season has been. This actually is the perfect matchup for how this NFL season has went.
Absolutely.
Like you can't you can't have a more makes sense matchup than this matchup. You can't.
The consistent thing we said all season long, there's one consistent thing we said was we couldn't call the AFC.
No.
And I would never have called Cincinnati.
No, absolutely not.
So, yeah, nope. Consistent in not knowing what the hell is going to happen in the AFC. Absolutely. The entire season.
So, I love the matchup. I expect I'm expecting a wild game. I think we're gonna see a bunch of shit. Like I think they're gonna be a number of big plays. There gonna be turnovers. They're gonna be peaks and valleys, swings. There's going to be I think it's going to be a wild game. I'm not even concerned. Like, you talking about the ran like a 13-3. Nah. Not this game. Nah. This game is going to be
that's the only way it's disappointing.
Yes. Right. I agree with you saying that. Yeah. It's going to be a wild game to me. It's going to be a wild game because of that, just how the season has gone, and just again, how inconsistent these teams can look from, forget about quarter to quarter, but from series to series. Like I was watching that the Tampa Bay Ram game again today. I was like, what? What were the Rams? I'm like, my God. You talk about how to gift games to somebody? I like Tom Brady was really about to get his 8th Super Bowl when messing around with the Rams. Like he really was about to. I was like, y'all really wanted to give Tom Brady his 8th Super Bowl because that like.
It was it was the thing it was the offense that wanted to give him when they wanted to give him away.
It wasn't. No. With the defense,
they literally just said no. And then they still tried to give it away. Yeah. It was just like, y'all, that off, like, why? Why are y'all this way? Why? Why? Just hold on to the ball. That's all you got to do.
That's literally all you do. That's literally all you had to do. And you see Cincinnati. I think I don't think that they are as inconsistent, to be honest with you. I think they've been more steady, especially in the course of these playoffs. I know the first half of Kansas City was rough, but that was more about what Kansas City was doing. Kansas City can make a lot of people look bad in a half, but they've been I think Cincinnati has been a little bit more steady. But we know, young team, that how that can go as far as from play to play, possession to possession. So
they've been steady in their inconsistency, but their high is so high.
Yes.
Their high is so high. And that both of these teams are similar in that way. You're right. The blips weren't as steep, or the valley, I should say, wasn't as steep as the Rams valley. Like when they look bad, they look really bad. But when both of these teams look good, they look so damn good.
Yeah. Yeah, they look unstoppable. They're virtually when they
that is
look
a
good, they're
common
virtually
factor.
unstoppable. Yeah, when they look good offensively, especially offensively, they are virtually
I mean,
unstoppable.
defensively, both of these
And
teams, they
yes,
jump off
and
the
on both
page.
sides. Yes, yeah, yes, yeah,
They in two halves. Talk about Cincinnati's defense just obliterated the Chiefs' offense,
yeah,
erased it. They just
yep,
erased it. They just said, "No longer will you score," and they just didn't score. That's very hard to do. That's very hard to do. That's very hard to do. Um, and that Rams defense is on a mission. That side of the ball has been on a mission. Do they make mistakes? Absolutely, but they're on a mission.
yeah. Well, yeah. Ask Tom
The
Brady.
way they raised their level of physicality to beat San Francisco was very impressive.
Yeah, no question about it. Um, Looking at some Super Bowl narratives, the Joe Burrow ascension.
Yep.
Um, I watched Joe Burrow in college, especially that last year, his senior year at LSU, and they're breaking all these records and they go undefeated, one of the great college football teams of all time. If you go back and go just look at how many of those guys were drafted on both sides of the ball. And many of them, I mean, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are two of the best young receivers in the sport. And they're oozing with talent. That's going to go down as one of the great college teams of all time. It's going to age extremely well. It is aging well. Um, Even with that said, going into the draft, and I thought there was most of the talk was that he was going to be number one. He was consensus that Cincinnati was going to take him. Stephen Ross wanted him, as we all know, from the Miami owner. Was willing to pay money allegedly to get him to his former head coach. So Joe Burrow was a hot item coming out of college, but I didn't view Joe Burrow as this can't miss Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck type number one franchise game changing guy. I just didn't. I think he would be a very good player. I had no problem with him going number one. As a matter of fact, I actually was higher on Taka on Tua, to be honest with you, as far as upside. I'll be perfectly honest with you from that standpoint. Where he's at right now versus where he was at when he got drafted is really it's just something that you just don't see at the quarterback position. I understand that now quarterbacks are getting better from a standpoint, are developing quicker, the good ones, especially the great ones, than they have maybe in the past. They're being rushed in more. You got these high school coaches. They're getting coached in high school. Like they have quarterback coaches in high school per se, doing these off season training regimens in high school and even sometimes even earlier than that. So I understand like it's more advanced than it was when we were growing up and even before that. But still, like you normally a guy normally no matter how talented he is going to pay his dues for 3 or 4 years, and he'll have some moments, but it doesn't happen like this quickly. Like this is like Dan Marino type shit, and that was like that didn't have that like that didn't happen to anybody else but Dan Marino basically. What are your thoughts on his ascension this quick in his second full year?
Yeah, I think you're using the wrong comparison. It's not Dan Marino, it's Joe Montana. It's not Joe Montana, then it's Tom Brady. I wasn't there for the rise of Joe Montana. What I don't even have to look at this from a national perspective. I don't care about what the national pundits are saying on this one. This one is very, very personal because I have a team that is a direct competition. And Joe Burrow worries me. And what worries me is the things I can't see. And that's why it's the Joe Montana Tom Brady comparison that excites me in my mind when I think about Joe Burrow because I watch him play and yeah, he has all tools. All the quarterbacks have to have all tools, of course. Um, and so he has all those tools, but it's the way that other players react to him, his players and defensive players. Um, that react to him. I will never forget that Tennessee game. I've never seen a quarterback take that beating and do that. Or it's been a very, very long time. That's an 80s, 90s game that I saw. Where you could really punish the quarterback, and they had to do that all the time. And so I say that to say I agree with you 100% that when he was drafted, I didn't have that worry about Joe Burrow. I knew he was talented, number one pick, of course, good, like in like an Andrew Luck type sense in terms of there's the physical talent. We'll see what type of quarterback he is. Didn't concern me. What I'm seeing now concerns me so much. When you said, "Oh, it's not going to happen now," because they're in the Super Bowl. When you said when you gave the suggestion, Sean Payton matched with that Cincy offense, that sent chills down my spine. I keep the reason why I keep wondering if he's great is because I'm seeing him win for some reason. And I do know why. It's fantasy. I do know why. The stats of a quarterback can sometimes outweigh whether he's winning or losing. Here's what I mean by that. Again, I don't have to go national. I can just go internal. The thing that drives me crazy about my fandom, Bills Mafia, is the narrative Josh Allen's great and wanting to put him in equal footing with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I understand why a fan base wants to do that, but my problem is he hasn't beaten Patrick Mahomes. And
right.
That has to matter. It has to matter. The comparisons, the reason why I think about the Joe Montanas and the Tom Brady's is because their physical gifts did not outshine their mental ability and their ability to lead and get players to play above themselves.
Yeah.
There's something about that, and you can never
Tim Duncan like. It's Tim Duncan like. I'm thinking about another athlete.
Exactly. You can never. That is the perfect analogy. We knew Tim Duncan coming out of college was going to be fantastic.
Right.
We knew that. Nobody saw him being the best power forward of all time.
Yeah.
Like that came out of nowhere.
No.
His game was it was just ridiculous. Like how polished he was. And that you helped me name exactly what I'm trying to say. He's polished beyond his years. And that your Dan Marino comparison is totally on point. He's a pro 8-year veteran right now.
Yes.
And that doesn't make any sense.
No.
That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. And that's what, like, when you look at, particularly, like, again, like I said, I didn't see the rise of Montana, but I definitely saw the rise of Brady. That's what gets me. And that's what sends that chill down my spine. It's just like, how can he be so poised already? You should destroy a young quarterback with 8 sacks. That shouldn't even be a game. A young quarterback in his first playoff game ever. Was that wait?
Well, second one. No, that was his second. That was second.
Sorry,
yeah,
second.
But still on the road.
Yeah, on the road against the number 1 seed, and you're crushing him physically. All quarterbacks wilt under that, honestly.
Yes.
All quarterbacks wilt under, but especially a young quarterback. And for him to take that beat, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing. So, just to sum it up, the way I feel about his ascension is afraid. It scares me. It honestly does, because it will be a problem if this already poised young quarterback can put a Super Bowl on his shelf. Now, it doesn't always work out when it happens early, but you would rather
when it does,
you would rather see it happen much later than early.
Like when it does happen early, boy.
It
Montana,
signifies a problem.
Montana
It
Brady.
signifies a problem. It signifies a problem if you're competing against that quarterback. It's
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah, yeah, and similar to Tim Duncan, Tim Duncan won a championship in his second year.
Yeah.
And by his second year, he was the best player in the sport. It happened that quickly.
Another franchise that was just kind of around.
Yep.
San Antonio was around before that. They existed.
Yep.
They had one great player, but that was it.
Yeah.
And had him going up against Kobe and Shaq. Crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Yeah, when you think about it, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes, in the Western Conference. And yeah. Yeah, the thing about Burrow is, and we'll talk more about this in the podcast I'm sure when we talk about, we're going to talk about guys who don't have intangibles, who are very talented, but don't have the intangibles and are not winners. James Harden. So we'll talk.
We'll get that. I honestly would have put Matthew Stafford in that category, to be honest with you. I mean, I've stated how I feel about Matthew Stafford. You know how I feel about him.
I don't. I never put Stafford.
That point. But yes, I would have before this. I would have absolutely put him in that category.
I never was that high on Stafford to begin. To be honest with you, I know he has a lot of physical talent, but I never had those type of expectations. I never just had those expectations out of Stafford.
Right, but what you just said was someone who had talent but didn't have the intangibles.
Yeah, but I think
that's how it describes Stafford.
That's true. But to be fair about Stafford, though, that situation was that he was with one of the worst franchises in the sport or in all like that they didn't do a great job when you drafting receivers every year and not developing the rest of the team. It's like,
by no means am I caking up for Detroit, but Burrow just got Cincy to the Super Bowl.
He did. No. I mean, clear. That's what. Yeah. I mean, yes.
That's what we're talking about.
No. Yeah. No. There are levels to this. I'm saying though. With Stafford, I just never had. I guess I never thought of Stafford as like that guy who just, man, why is he not winning? Like I just never no.
The loss of he has talent. Nobody's denying he does have a rocket for an arm.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, he has right. No, I know what you're saying from a standpoint of clearly Burrow from the mental standpoint, has those that Stafford does not have. But I guess I just never had those expectations in terms of for Stafford. I know what you're saying though.
He never showed those intangibles.
He never. No, you're right.
That's the reason you didn't have.
I mean, I guess what would be a better guy to me in terms of that comparison? Jeff George.
Jeff George, because his career is complete.
Yes.
If Stafford doesn't win the Super Bowl, we're saying the exact same thing about Stafford.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, and this could change it. That's what I'm saying. Up until this point, Stafford was Jeff George. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because what had he done up until this point? Lost in the playoffs.
Yeah.
A couple times. They got there.
Yeah.
Now, Atlanta was no great franchise either. So
no.
That is facts.
No, yes. Yeah. No.
Takes all the combinations, but a quarterback with all those things, as we're seeing with Joe Burrow and other quarterbacks we're talking about, they elevate the
level of the franchise. Yes. They elevate, and it happens. It normally doesn't take that long. It doesn't. Aaron Donald completing his resume.
I'm rooting for this.
One of I think it's fair to say now, and we've seen some great defensive players in this generation.
Top 5.
I would say I think, I mean, damn. If we're talking like the last 20 years, who we talking about? Ray Lewis, Ed Reed.
I put him over Ed Reed.
Yeah, I put him over Ed Reed too. Ray Lewis.
Yeah, Ray Lewis is Ray Lewis.
What cornerback deserves to be in that conversation? I mean, did Reeves? I don't think Reeves' tenure was long enough. When
Yeah,
Reeves at his peak,
Reeves is great. Reeves is great.
No, he's a beast.
Reeves is great. And again, this is one of those split and atom conversations.
Yes.
You know, like the tiebreaker will be like on something like that's why a championship is so important. The tiebreaker is a championship. That's the tiebreaker.
But the overall point is, we can make a case that Aaron Donald's the best defensive player of this generation. Period.
He's top 5 all time. He's top 5 all time.
Yeah. I mean, that I think I think.
I'll argue anybody on this one.
Yeah, I think that. Good about it. Yeah, he. The way he again, we talking about, forget about
LT, Ray Lewis, Reggie White are kind of like the 3 that really pop off. I'm not doing the dick buck. Don't give me no dick buckets. Don't give me none of that. Don't give me none of that. Don't give me none of that. Deion Sanders. I don't want to hear none of that. Nope. These
Rod Woodson,
complexity of the offenses, all the things that we say favor the offense, then only elevates a defensive player in this era. Who's able to be this dominant. The rules skewed so far against him, and the consistency and level of his dominance. He's a game wrecker. You got to commit 3 offensive line. You got to commit your every resource in the world to stopping him on a consistent basis. Interior pressure. We know what that does to quarterbacks.
Yep.
It again, it's completing a resume. This is it. After this, it's going to be very, very hard to argue against them. Oh, the other one is 49ers Dallas defensive end Haley.
Who?
Is it Charles Haley? Am I thinking? Who am I thinking about?
No, I don't think you're thinking about Charles Haley. I don't think you're Charles Haley.
5 Super Bowls. Who am I thinking about? Defensive end.
Defensive end?
Played for both. Or definitely D-line. He played for both the 49ers and Dallas during the heyday.
Oh, well, I mean, he was. Then you are talking about Charles Haley. 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He was a beast.
You can't argue with 5 Super Bowls. And
no, you can't. No, he was a beast. Impacting winning, yes. You got the total body of impacting winning, and Haley was a beast.
Ronnie Lott might be another one.
Ronnie Lott definitely could be, yeah. But the point is, this dude is one of the best defensive players of all time, ever.
Yeah. You talk when you speak his name, you're talking immortal.
Yes.
You're talking immortal.
Yeah. I mean, he's been all pro 7 out of his 8 years. The 3-time defensive player of the year, and he, like I said, he has been the pound for pound probably best player in the league for like the last 5 years.
No other player in the league
in terms of impacting. Yeah. So a Super Bowl just, it's the icing on the cake.
Cements legacy.
Yeah, it's legacy. Yeah, it's like,
Usually, and that shows you that, especially in this day and age, we only associate that with quarterbacks. So a defensive tackle, we're talking legacy and cementing and everything. That just another thing to show his greatness.
Yeah, no, he.
We don't use this with defensive tackles. We don't talk about things. Defensive tackles, we don't.
No, not in conversations of best player in the league. No. Like, no. We. Yeah, he can wreck an entire game by himself.
He's a gamer.
And it's like, it can happen so quickly because you can go through the game where, well, we haven't heard from Aaron Donald. Then next thing you know, oh, damn, Aaron Donald just had a sack, strip fumble, and 3 tackles. It happens.
Whole day.
It could happen so fast. Again, just the level of consistency. You're talking about no such thing as off year. He hasn't had an off year. Has been healthy. Has been on the field, and again, when the entire game plan offensively is geared towards you and limiting you, not stopping because they can't stop you, but limiting you. That's next level because they're literally coaches are literally up at night, not sleeping, trying to game plan in order to contain you.
Yeah, and acting, like when you're a lead actor in a series, they say number one on the call sheet for all offensive meetings. He's number one on the call sheet.
Yes.
Where is he? How we defending him? That's the first thing. Even before you do anything else.
Yep.
How we defending him.
Yeah.
Then you talk about the play you're going to run.
Right. Yes. Yeah. No, it's remarkable to watch.
If you don't block him well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, plays on. Yeah, your play. Yeah, you forget that goes. That yeah, you like you said. He is like when we come to those meetings and have these discussions, pre-coaches meetings. Yes, his name comes out as first. You know, if I'm you're offensive coordinator, your head coach, offensive coordinator, your offensive line coach, whatever. Yes, Aaron Donald. Yep. We got.
In this recent playoff run, but I've seen it happen multiple times. Aaron Donald will single-handedly go through the offensive line and just lay the running back out. And the running back will just get up and give him some dap. Be like, I tried. I tried. And then, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Wasn't get past you. Wasn't even happening.
Yeah, there's no chipping.
I know.
There's no chipping.
That was my fault. That's my fault. I should have just went down. You're right.
There's no, that's the thing about it. Like, there's no chipping him with a running back. That's suicide for your offense. Like you literally, like to your point, you literally have to put 2 to 3 offensive linemen on him. You don't you're not chipping him forget about running back. I wouldn't chip him with a tight end.
Nah, he destroys tight ends.
Like no, you're chipping him with an offensive line with 2 or 3 offensive line. That's chipping. That's what that constitutes chipping him, chipping him in particular. And it's like
I would argue a big reason the Patriots were able to be so effective against him in that Super Bowl was the blocking of Gronkowski. He's literally one of the only tight ends that
yes. And by the way, we're talking about probably the greatest. You're talking about probably the greatest blocking tight end of all time.
Yes, that's literally the only way.
Yeah, that's what, and that's why Gronkowski's probably is the greatest tight end of all time. Just because just that alone, as far as obviously we know we can do, with the catches and the touchdowns, but that his blocking, that's why he's the go-to tight ends, because no other tight end could do that. Like no other tight end is block. It's not even like you would get destroyed trying to block Aaron Donald. Get yourself killed trying to block Aaron Donald with any other tight end. Like no, Gronkowski. I remember that Super Bowl was on a couple of days ago, and I was watching it, watching part of it, and yeah, that was the number one reason why that he didn't completely just dominate that game and still impacted the game, but didn't. Why Durant if it wasn't for Gronkowski, he would have he could have dominated that game to where they could have won that game. Like Gronkowski was that big a factor in that game.
You just have to account for him he can
every play. Yeah, every play.
Absolutely do it. He can absolutely do it.
He does not there's no plays off. He did with him. Every play that he's on the field is potential for disaster for your offense. And again, we're talking about winning, impacting the game. That's the epitome of that from a defensive tackle. Like he's it's almost like he's kind of revolutionized the defensive tackle from the standpoint. He's like a defensive tackle / pass rusher. Like that's how dominant he is on the interior. Like he literally is he's still, even with all the double, triple teams and what have you, he's still going to get his 13 to 18 sacks.
And honestly, this is why I would put him over like a Revis or Ed Reed. Even a Ryan, maybe not Ryan, but very close. Is because of the ability to steal the game away. Yes. Right? Dion and Revis, those types, they absolutely took half of the field away from away from the opposing offense. And that is fantastic. But you could game plan around that.
Yeah.
You can game plan around that.
Yeah.
You can't game plan around this monster just destroying your offensive line, your running backs, your tight ends, getting your quarterback in turnovers. That's why. I mean, it's Reggie White and it's Lawrence Taylor, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just absolute menaces.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Reggie White just elevated a franchise when they not the trade, but got, between him and Drew Brees, probably the two greatest free agents of all time. But yeah, like that immediate impact on winning where Green Bay's franchise went after they got picked up Reggie White. And it was, like I said, it was immediate, basically right away, boom, we are Super Bowl contenders. Yeah, like you can try to game plan, but like it's good luck. Yeah, it's more about trying to contain them. It's like it's no stopping you. You just don't want them to sink your ship. Like you just don't want them to completely sink your ship. You know you're gonna take some hits, they're gonna make some plays, but you don't want them to just completely just decimate you to a point to where you can't recover. And that's what Aaron Donald can do and has potential for every time he steps on the field. The Matthew Stafford redemption story. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. I mean, it's everything that I said. I mean, like before this run, I have him way on par with Jeff George and Phillip Rivers, right? Like that's who I would equate him to in that class. Talented, sure. Throw that ball, absolutely. Like I said, can get you 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in a heartbeat. In September, in October, fantastic. No one you want to count on for any big time games, and is equally as likely to throw you out of a game as to win the game for you, right? Those are the type of quarterbacks I don't like at all. And so that's why I would have had him. He wins this game, completely different story. It's just
I can make a case. I'm thinking of all-time great hired gun quarterbacks. One name the name that comes to mind, of course, because came from my franchise, Doug Williams.
Do you think he was as hired as gun as Matthew Stafford?
I don't, but I think if Stafford wins, he becomes the greatest hired gun quarterback of all time, based on his stats.
That's accurate. Yes, I agree with that 100%. 100%.
Because you think about what if he wins, right? We're never going to if he wins, we're never going to regard him as. It's not about legacy with him. He's never going to go down as an all-time. That's not going to happen. So it's like what category can I put Stafford in? Like where is his place? If he goes out there and wins the game, I'm like, you're a hired gun. You were a hired gun, and you did your job. If you go out there and win the game, and he has to play well for them to win. I don't think, as great as their defense is playing, they can't withstand a 2 to 3, 4 interception disaster by Stafford. No. So he's going to have to play relatively well for them to win this game.
Yeah.
So that's the only place. That's the only place for him. Like, to me, like Burrow wins this game. This could be the beginning of an iconic all-time great career. We know where the potential where Burrow could possibly be headed. So there's an immediate place for him. But Stafford, I was trying to figure out what this means to his career. Obviously, personally, it's great for him. You won a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But I'm talking about in terms of just his place in the quarterback, the quarterback ranks and things of that nature. And I'm like, I'm not going to put. I mean, now again, they probably haven't happened. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame if he wins.
That's what I was going to say. You went exactly where I was going to go. This game determines if he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, that's what's on the line. Yes, that's the one. That is 100% what's on the line.
If he wins this, there is a definitive argument for him to be in the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't, win it,
No,
it would be challenging. It
no.
would be really
I don't know. I'm just gonna say
your
no.
argument
I'm
for
just
him.
saying no.
I would agree with that. I would
Yeah,
agree.
I'm like, you gotta put if you put him in, you gotta put like even though he didn't get to there, you gotta put dude like somebody like Phillip Rivers in.
I would agree with that as well, and that's why I would say no, because I don't want Philip Rivers in the Hall of Fame.
I don't want Phillip. No, I don't want Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame. No.
Hall of Fame. He just isn't.
No, he's not. No, I'm not. Very good court. He's in the Hall of
Oh,
Very Good. The
Hall
Hall
of
of Very
very good.
Good.
He's absolutely there. Absolutely.
He might be at the top of the very good list.
Fantastic, very good quarterback.
Yes.
He's fantastic,
No,
very good.
Listen, he was a franchise, very good quarterback. He
Yeah.
did his job. He stayed on the field. You know, was durable, led a franchise, got to the playoffs, did some things, did some good things, but not. No, I'm not putting you. You're not my Hall of Fame. Now he probably going to get in, because he's probably going to get in. I think, but no, I don't. I never regarded Phillip Rivers as like a Hall of Fame. We talk about like not winning enough. Just didn't win enough, man. Just didn't win enough.
Sure did.
Roger Goodell answering questions about Brian Flores. I guess today. We could have saw this coming a mile away. Basically we gotta do better and blah blah blah, so on, so on, so on. So, listen, he's getting paid $65 million a year to take those bullets in front of the NFL owners. Like he's not going to throw his owners under the bus, and he's just going to he's going to give that he's going to get a typical NFL type answer for this type of stuff. We gotta do better. Blah blah. We value there are a lot of cloudy minority candidates, shit like that. So I didn't expect much out of any Goodell comments in regards to what transpired with Flores.
Didn't even pay attention to it.
No, you didn't miss anything. No,
same.
No, didn't miss anything. Game matchups. The Ram defensive line versus the Bengal offensive line.
There you go. This is it.
What thoughts come to mind when you think about this matchup?
The thoughts that go to my mind are the Rams have to be licking their chops, salivating to get their hands on this Bengals offensive line and do all the different things that they want to do. And the Bengals offensive line and everybody responsible for blocking in that backfield has to be focused on executing 100% of the time, which is a lot of pressure for a young team and an offensive line that has been up and down to be damn near perfect in that game. They can't survive a game like they had against Tennessee, against this team.
Joe Burrow won't survive.
No, and not at all. Not at all. So they just flat out can't have it. They flat out can't have it. If the Rams defensive line wins, the Rams win. That I can say confidently. It would stun. I've been stunned. I feel very confident about that statement. It would stun me if it went any other way. And then again, we'd be probably sitting here talking about is Joe Burrow the greatest thing ever? Because that would be amazing that I can't fathom that. So this to me is the matchup. This is the matchup. This is the whole show. This is the whole show right here. Their ability to get consistent pressure on Burrow and limit the offensive capabilities. The one way they were able to absolutely match San Francisco physically was because they said, you will not run on us. And that was impressive because that wasn't the Rams' forte up until that point in time, completely shutting down the run. And so I think they definitely have to do something similar, meaning Mixon cannot go off, or it's not ideal for him to go off in this game. And so shutting down the run and getting significant pressure on Burrow seems like their best way in which to impact this game at its maximum um, in their maximum capacity.
Yeah, this is a matchup the Rams have to win. Um, because clearly this is the most out of all the matchups, this is clearly the most one-sided matchup on paper.
Feels like it.
Like your defensive line should demolish their offensive line. I will say this: Cincinnati, following
Yeah.
that abomination against Tennessee with the 9 sacks, and basically turning Simmons into almost a Hall of Famer in one game. Um, I have to say how impressed I was with the offensive line play in the Kansas City game. Um, because to me that showed coaching. That showed like, okay, we can make whatever necessary adjustments that they had to make. Where it was play calling, running the ball, things of that nature. I have to give. I don't know if they've been given enough credit from that standpoint, from that because that what happened to Tennessee against Tennessee was just like, yo, I I understand Tennessee's defensive line is very good, but it ain't they're not 9 sacks great. Like there's no defensive line like nine sacks. So that one week really showed me something, and I think 2 weeks of preparation, they could do some things to where it may not be as bad as it looks on paper. They also are able, the one thing you do slow down a great pass rush, we know, is you got to have a quarterback who obviously gets rid of the ball quickly, but also more importantly, you have to be able to run the ball. And they with Mixon they are not afraid to run the ball. They are a physical. In fact, their offensive line is built to run the ball. That's clearly the strength of their offensive line. The strength of their offensive line is running the football. So I don't think I think the Rams will win that matchup, of course, just on sheer talent and got the best player in football. I think that they'll win that matchup, but I don't think it will be as one sided as one may think. Out of my respect for the Cincinnati coaching staff, and also the idea of them being able to do the things that you have to do to kind of keep a great defensive line, especially pass rush defensive line, at bay. Because I've seen them over the course of this year be patient with the run to where they don't care about just gaining 2 or 3 yards. That will not dismay them, and they won't be like, "Hey Joe, you got to throw it 50 times." So I'll say that. But again, this is a matchup that the Rams should have to and should win. There's no two ways about it. There's no comparison with the Ram defensive line, the Bengal offensive line. Like it's the biggest mismatch to me in the game. Um, the Rams secondary versus the Bengal receiving core. Um, Very fascinating matchup. Of course, you have probably arguably the best corner in the league in Jaylen Ramsey, but there's only one of him, and you have Cincinnati's receiving core is deep. You're
They are.
talking about not only Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Boyd. The tight end is very good. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, this is actually why I think the defensive line matchup is so important because I actually think the Rams, um, there are plays to be made against the Rams secondary, given the offensive talent that the Bengals have. And so this is not the terrifying part of the matchup. Like you said, they have Jalen Ramsey, but he's one person back there in that defensive backfield. And you can game plan around him. And Jalen Ramsey, honestly, he takes like a lot of risk as well. So there are plays to be made against that entire secondary. And so the frightening prospect for the Rams is if Burrow does have time to diagnose the defense um and to uh exploit the matchups that will be there and exploit the different combinations that they can do. Uh that's why the defensive line pressure on Burrow is going to be so very important.
One matchup I didn't put on there that I should have, and is the coaching matchup. McVay and Taylor. We know Taylor, of course, was the quarterbacks coach for the Rams a couple of years ago. Um, they obviously know each other very well. McVay has built himself up into being one of the better coaches in the league. The Rams have been good ever since he got there. Remember, he took over, just a shit show.
Yeah,
Um,
Fisher,
with Jeff Fisher,
Jeff
who
Fisher show,
I mean, just
Jeff Fisher show.
yeah, the Jeff Fisher show, yeah. And they've been one of the more consistent teams
One
in the
of
league
the most overrated coaches ever,
ever, ever,
ever.
ever.
So overrated.
Woo.
So overrated.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, I mean, good, then, folks. All you gotta do is go look at the record. That's all you gotta do. The record does not. The record does not lie. If you don't believe us about Jeff Fisher, the record doesn't lie. That's it. The record does not lie. Yeah. But yeah, McVay is a top coach. I'm always fascinated by these mentor mentee type deals, and I wouldn't even say that mentor mentee, but the coaching tree. Normally, the advantage is the guy who is the head of the coaching tree, which would be McVay. But listen, give Zach Taylor a lot of credit. Those adjustments that they made defensively against Kansas City can't be slept on. His team is clearly a mentally tough team, winning, on the road and at Tennessee, winning on the road against Kansas City. So he clearly has established himself with his team getting here, navigating them through this, just wild season and through just a wicked, just brutal division and brutal AFC to say the least. Um, what do you think about that matchup?
The which matchup?
The coaching.
Yes, I mean, I wanted to dig into more of the coaching staff, the Bengals coaching staff, honestly, because I it seems that this is a team when you're talking about adjustments that does adjustments really well, but I just don't know enough about them, particularly the defense coordinator. Like I said in our last podcast, me and my brother were actually on the line. He was so impressed by their defensive uh switch ups, their defensive changes in the second half against Kansas City Chiefs that he looked the coach's name up, and it wasn't an amazing resume, and I couldn't even pronounce the coach's name. So I say that to say there's a lot to be learned on the other side of the matchup, but one thing did stick out as you were talking about the coaching tree, and I was thinking about McVay and Taylor, and it's more like colleagues than a coaching tree, right? Like they're all around the same. It's like young startup energy, right? Like we're all around the same.
Is part of that.
Exactly. We all have kind of like similar offensive philosophies, similar coaching philosophies,
Kyle Shanahan.
and we're just all together and young and have energy and are just ready to do this thing, rather than like I'm learning from you,
right.
And so I think that's there's a different dynamic there, and that's another one of the things that we just don't know how it's going to play out, which is also why it's not like student and master as it was McVay and Belichick, and that's why it's very hard to envision a game that isn't infinitely entertaining in all the different dynamics, because you have two coaches that have very similar philosophies, and their philosophies tend to lead towards aggression and taking chances. And so that again, if I can say any type of consistency that I've seen between the two, is that they are definitely new school in the way that they call offenses, in the way that they want to build their franchises around a lot of technique, a lot of speed, and a lot of for lack of a better word, obvious talent. Quite different from the Patriots and their philosophy, right, of building the team. And so again, that's just going to lead to infinitely fascinating game.
Yeah, like
I need to read up more on the coaches, to be honest with you, on Cincinnati side. But they
I
just
was,
got here. They
yeah,
just
they
got here.
did. Yeah, they literally just. Yeah.
So it never even occurred to me to care about the Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously, McVay. This is his second go around the Super Bowl. But I will say this: if there's one thing that scares me about a potential decision or game management, is McVay and his just use or lack or just use of wasted challenges and things of that nature. Sometimes he gets those can get a little dicey with some of his decision making on what to challenge, what not to challenge, and how he values, especially second half timeouts. So I keep your eye on that, especially in a close game.
We shall see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Real or not, have some fun here. Super Bowl halftime show. And, got Kendrick Lamar, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Mary J. Are you looking forward to it? Or you think it's going to live up? You think it's going to be a big time show, or is it going to be like, okay, just a bunch of names?
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
I don't look forward to any halftime show because none of the half shows relate to me. This one absolutely relates to me, so I'll be looking forward to it. I don't know what the criteria for a great halftime show is, to be honest with you. So as long as it's entertaining, I will be entertained. But my expectations aren't super, super high for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously you got Eminem is on there as well. I left him out, not intentionally, but I just he just came to mind late. It's all of them. All of them. We're talking about all legends here, so it's not. I'm not that just not that crazy about it. I'm just not. I just want to see how they how all these not personalities, but how all these acts are going to be utilized, and because normally it's like one act that just they do just the one or two acts, but to have like 4 or 5, it's like, how we gonna navigate this? Like I don't know. I guess I'm more concerned about how logistically it's gonna look. So we'll see. Um, Super Bowl commercials. How are you looking forward to the Super Bowl commercials?
Like all of this, is, I'm probably the wrong person to have this conversation with because I care about the football. So right. It's all part of the experience. But especially last few years, I've kind of like caught up on the commercials the day after.
Got you.
When it's like they do those super cuts of them.
Yeah.
I can kind of like fast forward through the ones but I'll be paying attention. I always notice the ones. I mean, the Super Bowl commercials are a big deal. It's part of the pageantry to it. So I always look forward to a good commercial. So I hope that some of the commercials are good. You usually get about 2 or 3 that really stand out.
Yeah.
I don't expect more than that though.
Yeah, I'm actually
very, very weird ones where you're like, who even created?
Yeah, thought about this, right? There's always there's going to be a couple of them. It's just, yeah. I'm actually more into the commercials, more forward to the commercials than I'm actually am the Super Bowl act, the halftime act. To be honest with you, like you said, there's going to be a couple that stand out that you like, that highly creative, and you'll be talking about a water cooler the next day, and also there's always some movie trailers that drop as well. So
yes,
that's a part of it to me as well. I kind of lump those in. So that I'll definitely be looking forward to that from that standpoint. But like yourself, when I'm like yourself locked in, a lot of times I am locked into the game.
I have times when I talk and eat food. Honestly.
Right. Yep.
and then I can go back to watching the game when it starts.
New coaching hires. So officially, well, unofficially, because a couple of positions are unofficial, but they know who their guy is going to be. Every position has been filled. Um, we'll go through this. Some interesting names to say at least. I don't see any major shockers here. Doug Peterson of Jacksonville.
So I'm about to cut this whole conversation. This is what this list tells me.
Okay.
That the biggest winner of this is Sean Payton. Every team that hired a coach this year, I'm looking at this list.
Right.
The coach that can be easily expendable when they go in to woo Sean Payton. He's the prettiest girl at the ball.
Yep.
None of these coaches even give me a iota of concern at all. Yep. Everybody on here is expendable. Everybody. And what that says to me is, Sean Payton knows he's the prettiest girl at the ball and is getting ready. He's going to spend this year flirting with everybody. And all the teams are going to be flirting back. So all these coaches are officially on the hot seat right now. And they haven't even coached a game yet.
I don't disagree. There's no name that should feel like they have real security. Like, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Even Doug Peterson and Lovie Smith, who have won and been to a Super Bowl, like,
yeah, none of that matter. Not with these franchises.
No, it doesn't.
Other franchises don't care about that. As a matter of fact, it's probably more of an albatross than anything else because no coach has gone from a Super Bowl winning team and won a Super Bowl winning another team.
No.
So it's more of an albatross, to be honest with you.
And, I don't know how you, I think
some great coaches have changed teams. So, and none of these guys are great.
No. I think I know, like, how you feel about Doug Peterson, but I always thought I think that we can probably say that it was probably more Frank Wright as far as the offense went.
I don't even need to go that deep into him, Real. I mean, like, he better perform well. It's just that simple. Otherwise, Peyton will be in that chair if he wants it. Peyton with Trevor Lawrence sounds great. Doug Peterson with Trevor Lawrence sounds whatever. Nobody cares.
Yep. I forgot.
He spent all that equity. He spent all that Super Bowl equity. It's all gone.
It's gone. No, it's all gone. Yeah, it's gone. I actually had forgot that Dennis Allen was a head coach with the Rays before. That's how bad his tenure was.
I remember him.
My goodness.
That's why these retreads and this list that it absolutely screams. We want to fire this guy.
Yeah.
It's come to us.
In regards to
all these guys are happy to have a head coaching gig, right? Like none of these guys are hot candidates for anything else.
No.
So
which makes it more disappointing that Eric Bieniemy can't get a head coaching job. That's I mean
that's entirely different.
Yeah, it is. But it makes looking at this list makes it that much more like disappointing. Like we obviously know why, but like none of these guys like it's
you
one
can't
thing.
Fire Eric Bieniemy after 1 year, which you bring him in.
Right. Yeah, exactly. In regards to like Lovie Smith, it was funny coming off what happened with Brian Flores. I'm like, I don't love the job for Lovie Smith, but I also don't love Lovie Smith. I'm like, yo, I couldn't even decide like which, like I didn't think it was a good hire, but I understand why, and I understand why he took it, and I understand why they did it. But I'm like, this is like you watch Lovie Smith. If you watch Lovie Smith in his last 2 stints, like hasn't went is
real.
Even going back to college.
Real. It's the Houston Texans. Does anything about that franchise say they make smart decisions?
No.
Oh, sure. Hire a black coach. Sure. Sure.
By the way, I don't blame. I mean, Lovie Smith. I don't blame him for taking the job. This is gonna be his last opportunity.
It's money. It's a job.
It's a job, right?
Yeah. Well, of course you take the job. Of course. Like I said, none of these guys are hot candidates. Nobody's banging on Lovie Smith's door to come and coach their team. Nobody's Kevin O'Connell, Dennis, none of these names. Nobody was like banging down the door. We need these guys because they're the hottest coaching candidates. So Lovie Smith will be a perfectly serviceable coach while they figure their lives out in Houston.
Yeah, and when you look at it,
they can be, because they're going to take all the heat in the world over Deshaun Watson, so they can be, at least we have a black head coach. Whatever. Don't care. Literally don't care.
but to your original point, you look at these jobs. If you're Sean Payton, you could sit out a year. Like it wasn't, you didn't have to. It wasn't a must that you like, unless Dallas was going to call, or unless somebody of that ilk was
Even
going to
if
call.
Dallas calls, you don't take that. You sit out this year because you can spend the entire year flirting. Sean Payton is going to pick the
His job.
perfect
Yep.
situation for Sean Payton.
Yes. Yep.
It is just that simple.
Yep.
Every franchise will want him outside of 5, maybe. If that. So he gets the pick. He gets the pick of the litter. And every franchise, by definition right now, by the level of this QB coach hires, is saying we don't want to invest in our head coach that much with such a big fish right there. Now, the question is, how many franchises realistically have a shot at it?
Yeah.
And how many are just dreaming big dreams like the LeBron James free agents, those years in the Knicks being crazy. Like how many are just dreaming, right? And so you look at this list and you go, Jacksonville could probably dream that dream if they haven't just destroyed him mentally.
Yeah.
I'm not certain Minnesota can dream that dream. And there's no way in hell Houston he's touching you.
No.
So they're just hiring black coaches. Miami, I don't know if Miami can dream that dream, to be honest with you. So some of these head coaches are going to be very sad. And everything I'm hearing out of New Orleans from the local people are like, New Orleans has this pie in the sky dream that what Peyton needs is he just needs time away and he'll be able to come back. So that explains their weird Dennis Allen crazy.
Sure.
And they'll regret that. But yeah, the only team on here that I think can even dream that, should be able to dream that dream, even though all these hires say that, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Unless now you tell me Kirk Cousins stays in Minnesota, I can hear that. And you tell me Tua rebounds and there is significant hope for improvement amongst them, then I can hear that from Miami. Other than that, Jacksonville's the only one I even see in that conversation. I think that's a long shot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, he's going to pick his job, and it's going to be a job that has a legit franchise level type quarterback. Period. That's all there is to it. He's not like
that's you, San Diego or Los Angeles.
Yep.
Chargers.
Yep.
Looking at you.
Yep. No two ways about it.
Off that hot seat. Yeah, looking at you.
Yeah.
You gotta make a run. Playoffs next year.
Yeah, you
gotta be in the playoffs.
But I mean, that is the baseline. I think I think that with the expansion of 7 teams, I don't think making the playoffs is even a big deal anymore.
They have to, but they haven't been. They have to make it the playoffs.
Yeah, they have. Yes, the baseline. Yes, that's their baseline.
For that coach not to be on the hottest of hot seats. And
I'm telling you right now, if they don't make the playoffs, he's gonna get fired.
Salivating at the chance to work with Herbert.
Yes,
now, that I am very much interested in.
I would make a prediction right now. If they don't make the playoffs, he will be fired, and Sean Payton will have that job.
It would be challenging. It would be challenging to keep your job. It would be very, very challenging.
Yeah, you can't miss the playoffs 3 years in a row with Justin Herbert. Like, you just can't. Can't do it.
No, you
can't
cannot.
Do it.
Can't.
Nope.
You can't.
Nope.
You really can't. You really can't.
So basically, we go into a restaurant. These are the appetizers, and the main course is still out there.
I don't like those appetizers.
you sending the appetizers back?
I don't want to do this. No, I'm good. I'll wait for the main course. I don't. I really don't want any Dennis Allen. I really don't want any Lovie Smith. I don't even know what the fuck a Kevin O'Connell and a Mike McDaniel are. I'm good. I'll wait.
Oh man, no, it's interesting. Like, I mean, we already know the reasons why they got hired, but just to show you how poorly run these franchises are. Like, so Kevin O'Connell is the offensive coordinator of the maybe soon to be Super Bowl champions Los Angeles Rams, but we know that's McVay's offense. Mike McDaniel was the offensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, or ex. But we know that's Kyle Shanahan. That's what I'm saying. It's like what you're getting these
what
guys.
What have you done to deserve these
jobs?
Yes.
Yes.
And the answer is we have no clue at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have no clue at all. You are offensive coordinators under dynamic offensive mind head coaches, right?
The so-called boy geniuses.
Hard
yeah.
To be like, you're the reason for this offensive success.
Right.
Very hard.
And so we saw a lot of that. I mean, well, I can't say no. I'm not your guy, but you just weren't impressed with your with.
But that's why I'm saying, even in my not being impressed, I actually was going to bring that up. Defensive coach, and so he built that thing. He did.
Yes, that's his offense. That was his offense.
You do
right.
have in that aspect. You can't automatically go there with these offensive coordinators who are under dynamic offensive head coaches, and yet they get a job before the enemy does.
Yep.
Confusing.
Yep.
Confusing. Very confusing to me. Very confusing.
Predictions on the game. What are your thoughts as we talked about, the matchups, the narratives?
Yep. So I'm going to start with I have no clue. Cincinnati made that very clear last week. You don't know what you're talking about. Got it, Cincinnati. Message received. So this is how I'm framing this one. I will be rooting for the Rams because I'm rooting for Aaron Donald.
Yep.
If I just go on my football acumen of watching for all of these years, this game feels like a Rams 31-28-ish game.
Wow.
That's where I go. That's where I go. I'm going to just lean my edge over a little bit of veterans who know this is their last opportunity to win a championship over the young guys who think this is easy. This will be every year. But that is so very slight and minute and not measurable at all. So that's all I got. I will go 31-28.
It's crazy how you said that. How you said in terms of that score, because that was the exact score I had in my head, but going one away.
We definitely know it's not going to be 31-28.
Yeah, exactly. Folks, don't bet on that score. Yeah, don't.
Definitely don't put that in your. Don't. Nobody bet that.
Nobody bet that.
Definitely not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, my head and my football knowledge of 30 plus years tells me the Rams probably are all around top to bottom the better team. but nothing in this NFL season has made sense. Nothing has gone according to plan.
Nope.
Um,
We just had an NFC Championship game that didn't have Brady and Rodgers in it.
yeah,
Makes no sense.
yeah,
Makes no
yeah.
sense.
Go figure that. Right.
No sense.
Yeah.
Garoppolo and Stafford were your starting quarterbacks. Makes no sense.
Yeah,
No.
yes. Matthew Stafford in, no Patrick Mahomes. No Mahomes, no Brady, no Rodgers in the
Okay.
Super Bowl. Right.
Never
that-
call. Never ever. Never ever.
No.
Ever,
No.
ever. Never ever.
I'm gonna do another Patriot comparison because you're talking about the 2001 Patriots. How about the field goal kicker, Money McPherson makes the game winner.
That definitely entered my mind. That definitely entered my mind.
Money Mac, he's a beast.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said,
They're valid.
I see a wild game, very entertaining game. You could get, I mean, you might have 4 or 5 turnovers in this game. I think it's just going to be that type of game where the ebbs and flows are going to be all over the place with the nervousness, because both teams are going to be nervous because, like, for different reasons. I think like all the inexperience of Cincinnati, that's a natural nervousness, and the Rams knowing that this is probably their last shot. So again, I just expect this all over the place, just wild type game. I really would be surprised if this game isn't. I expect it to be close, but I really wouldn't be surprised if it's not a whole bunch of action in this game. Like, I don't expect any dullness or like any. Forget about boredom. Like, no, this is not gonna be that type of game. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on in this game. Now I don't think this game will have a rhythm though. That's the thing. I think it's gonna be all over the place.
You
I don't
know
think
what
we'll
game
have a
I was
rhythm.
going? I can sniff out in this game as you're talking because I agree with you 100%. I can sniff out. Remember that Patriots Panthers Super Bowl?
Yes, I could.
I can sniff something like where they're just like feeling like it was just an awkward first half.
Right, all
And
defensive. It was defensive first half.
Then the floodgates open.
Yes.
Once everybody figured it out, the floodgates completely open.
Yep.
I can see something similar.
Yeah.
In this game.
Yeah, that was a wild game. That
But
second
this is the first game in a while that I can legitimately see any scenario pop. You could give me any scenario, I go, yep, that is totally plausible.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in this game. Anything.
Right. Yeah.
Literally anything.
Yeah.
I know that's stating the obvious, but
no, but
anything
can happen.
Like we knew what was going to happen for that San Francisco Chargers Super Bowl. Like,
right,
we knew how that game was going to go.
We knew, yes.
You think about the 2000 Ravens against the Giants, right?
Yep.
Like, we knew how that game was going to go. Like, you know how games are going to go. And you know what things are going. This one, anything can happen. You can tell me anything. I'll believe. Yep, that makes sense. Yep.
Questions for Sap. Who should Jaylen Ramsey cover?
I mean, look, Ril, I'm old school on this one. Like, I know what Belichick and I know what a lot of the defensive gurus do, and I like that matchup dependent upon.
Well, no, could you explain that to our audience who doesn't?
Yeah. So what the philosophy shifted, kind of like during that era where it used to be, and you hear Dion talk about this a lot, best cornerback, best wide receiver. That was going to happen. And that was going, no matter where that receiver went, that cornerback went there. Or at the very least, anybody on that side of the field, that cornerback was there and was going to lock down that receiver. But most of the time, it was best cornerback on best receiver, no matter where that receiver went. Then a shift, and Belichick was a big part of this shift, where the philosophy came, you know what we'll do? We'll put our most physical cornerbacks on the best receiver, and we'll rotate those cornerbacks out and give him multiple looks of coverage, not just one-on-one, but multiple different zones and single high state, whatever, all these different types of looks at that. And then we will put our best cornerback on the number 2 receiver. So we'll take away 2 options, essentially.
Yep.
We'll have our blankets covered over your best receiver. That might take 2 or 3 players, but that's fine because then we'll just have one on there and then we'll just knock the snot out of everybody else. They won't be able to withstand it. And so, of course, much success to that. So I get that part. I don't think the Rams secondary is built like that. And I definitely don't think they're built like the Legion of Boom, right? Where the Legion of Boom said, we don't care. We're not moving anybody anywhere. We're just going to beat you because we're talented everywhere. And they were. So they could do that. This isn't at Rams. Jaylen Ramsey, Chase. You may not let Jamar Chase have 174 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. You may not.
Chase is like Tyreek Hill. He can.
Yeah, you may not.
Yeah.
You may not.
Yeah.
Jaylen Ramsey, that's your job.
Yep.
That's why we got you. That's why this is the moment. And this is what all, like, when we say things like push all the chips in and everything, this is what we're talking about. These are the moments.
Yep.
This is it. There's no other nothing. You stop Chase. That is your one and only job. That is your focus. That's your single thing. So I'm very old school like that. Jaylen Ramsey should be on Chase, and Chase should have 3 catches for 5 yards. Like that. That's why. If you're that good and you legitimize that,
let's say 3 catches for 50 yards.
Whatever. Doesn't even matter.
I know what you keep him out the end zone. Keep him out the end zone.
You shut him down.
Yep.
You're the vet. He's a baby. You shut him down.
Yep. Keep him out the end zone.
You shut him down. It's just that simple.
Yep.
It's just that simple. Otherwise, what was all this for?
Yep. Are the Rams a historically underrated franchise?
Ooh.
So I'm gonna give you some setup.
I love this question.
Let me give you some context with this. So we go back to the Rams, of course. They were the Cleveland Rams back in the day. They have a total of 3 championships, 1 Super Bowl. This is their 4th. Yeah, I think their 4th Super Bowl appearance. Yeah, 4th Super Bowl appearance. They lost 2 Super Bowls early those in the 70s. One of them to Pittsburgh, the legendary Pittsburgh, Steel Curtain, and of course they won the Super Bowl. Of course, with
all the Hall of Famers, like all of them. Yeah, that team
with Kurt Warner and company. So yeah, so 70s they had tremendous talent. The Fearsome Foursome, but they just came along in the wrong era. You're talking about Steelers, Dolphins, Raiders, like it was just the wrong era, in terms of winning. Cowboys, you just weren't winning unless you had an all-world quarterback and what have you. They had a great defense. Always had that great defense. So we get to the 80s, again, very good teams in the 80s. Eric Dickerson, Jim Everett, Henry Ellert, guys like that. Greg Bell. They played second fiddle in that NFC West to San Francisco, a distant second, but made it to a couple of conference championship games in the 80s. Had a bad stretch in the 90s. A lot of bad drafting, to say the least. Tony Banks, remember that?
That is a kind way to describe their 90s. That's a very kind.
Some hard. Yeah, remember the Lawrence Phillips? Remember Lawrence Phillips? Yep. That was the Lawrence Phillips and Tony Banks. Yeah. And then you had of course, the greatest show on turf. One of the most exciting eras of offensive football that we've ever seen. From 99 to 2000, in essence 2002. And then you had, again, another long drought of losing up until the McVay era. It's been hit or miss as a franchise with them. They do have they are, as a franchise, 19 games over 500 when you look at their complete record, which, by the way, is a big deal. I'm telling you right now, if you ever get just extremely bored and you're a football nerd, look at the total win-loss record of each franchise. The majority of franchises have losing records. So if you're over 500, your franchise has probably done something right more times than not in their history. Because most franchises have losing records, period, in the regular season. They actually are 19 games over 500. And I'm going to read you over some of the names because I found this interesting too. They have played for this franchise. Merlin Olsen, Deacon Jones, Jackie Slater, Aaron Donald, Youngblood, Torrey Hope, Kurt Warner, Marshall Falk, Eric Dickerson, Roman Gabriel, Isaac Bruce, and Orlando Pace. Just to name a few. What are your thoughts?
I've never thought about this question in my life, and it's such a good question. As you were talking, my initial response was you gotta say yes. And then you talk more, and then I went to like no. So where I landed was that they are probably underrated, but only in the sense of how fan bases view franchises. Their rise, honestly, happened right before the fantasy football explosion, and where the NFL went kind of like supernova in its popularity. I think the problem and what illustrated that to me was when you were talking about the greatest show on turf. They were there. That was the team that could have put them over the top nationally, but that team failed to win multiple Super Bowls. And I think that's the thing that devalues them in all of fandom's eyes, is that none of the even the highest wins came in any type of dominant over a course of time fashion. Because even the greatest show in turf era was so very, very
quick.
brief.
That was quick.
And
yes.
was very, very uneven and beset by injuries, right?
Yep.
And so the other eras that you're talking about were not very sexy, for lack of a better word, because they were always being overshined by a much, much sexier team, for lack of a better phrase. Steelers, as you said, in the Niners. The great comment when the show on Turfs came to be was that first game they really beat the 49ers, and at the beginning of the game, it was the 49ers, I think it was Dana Stubblefield actually, that yelled, same sorry ass Rams. Or they showed a clip of that from a beating they had before. So that was who they were in the 90s, as the NFL was starting to reach that nuclear level of popularity with the 49ers and the Cowboys and the NFC's dominance and yada and all that stuff. They were a wasteland at that point in time. So they had no visibility there. So my summary on that is, I think when you take the sum of the franchise accomplished, like you're saying, the amount of times they've gone to the Super Bowl, the amount of wins and their overall record in the regular season, you would have to answer yes, they're underrated. But I think our perception of the Rams Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you hear all? Oh, something happened. I thought you cut out.
Oh no, I thought it was a phone ringing.
Oh, so many different things happened.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm
I
here.
apologize. I really thought we had cut out. Something happened on my computer. All right. So, what was I saying? I was saying the Rams were a team that was just a laughing stock at a time when the NFL was becoming so omnipresent in everybody's mind, and the team that could have done that would have really, really put them over the top, but never got there. So I think the perception in fans' minds is that they're a meh middling franchise, and I think in terms of the ways in which they've won and the times in which they've won have kind of backed that up.
Here's the thing. I agree that they are underrated. When I look at everything, I look at the players, look at even the record, and look at just the overall body of work. The problem is, and the reason why they're underrated is their own doing as a franchise. Is you go from Los Angeles to St. Louis, back to Los Angeles.
Facts. This is facts.
So there's no connectivity between the fan base and the franchise from that if you do that. Period. And Los Angeles is just, let's be honest, Los Angeles is not a football town. It's not.
Nope.
It's not.
Never has been.
Never has been. It's always been, it's Lakers, Dodgers. Lakers, Dodgers, USC football. USC football, but not an NFL from a standpoint, not the NFL. Not an NFL town. That's why they've been back and forth.
And those other teams have a long tradition of football.
Yes. No established tradition with like I said, with one city.
No.
So that will have people kind of forgetting about you unless you've won like 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls, which they haven't. And been a dynasty, which they haven't. So yeah, I think that they are, but I think it's their own to. It's the fault of the franchise. As a franchise, it's their fault because again, no connectivity with their fan base, and it's hard to be. You're not going to listen. You know this as well as I do. You're not going to be appreciated if you don't have if there's not a consistent connection with a team and a fan base and a franchise. Like that's just not like. Of course, you're going to be overlooked or underappreciated in some cases. Like yeah, look at the opposite. There might be some franchises that are overrated because of the love affair that the fans have with that particular team.
Yep.
I'm not going to mention any names, but
But to be honest, to be honest.
But yeah, but it was really remarkable looking at their body, looking at the body of work, looking at the season by season. And the Rams kind of they've been relevant more times than not.
Yep.
And there are a lot of franchises that would take 4 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl win. I'll tell you that.
Would they?
A lot.
Yep.
Okay, this is what I know you've been waiting the entire podcast to discuss.
Just to say, I texted you before the show, and usually it's like it comes not out of nowhere, but it's just like you want to talk about it like burning, so I don't have as many thoughts. But I texted you this time instead.
You texted, yes.
We got to talk about this. I have so many thoughts and comments on this situation. So many.
Yeah, it was fun. I was glad that you texted me about this particular subject because, of course, I've been like enthralled, especially with in the Super Bowl week, pre-week, last week. I just went all the way in.
Yeah,
and really haven't stopped. Even in the Super Bowl week, haven't stopped.
There's no stopping this. There's no stopping this.
With this situation, or with these
epic proportions,
or with these 2 situations, but in particular with the Nets. So, all right, to give everybody kind of up to date on what's going on in regards to what may happen tomorrow. The trade deadline is 3:00 tomorrow. It looks as if James Harden and the Ben Simmons James Harden thing is picking up a lot of steam, and that there's a possibility, more chances that it might happen than it won't happen. That this move will be made. Now, if I had to gauge it based on all the stuff that I've read and heard about, I would say 52-48 4. I think it's that close. They're trying to get this. The teams are trying to get this deal done. They're trying to get this deal done with Harden and Simmons. So just kind of to give if everybody hasn't been up to date on it or following it as closely. Just give you from that standpoint. Um, I was thinking about with the Nets, and I think I talked. I think I briefly talked. It may have been you or Chad. I was discussing this with in terms of where the Nets are right now and the fact that they really, as a franchise, are getting what they deserved.
Yeah, God, I'm so glad you said that.
Um,
I'm just so glad you said
because
that.
I'm looking at the so you have you get this super team, quote unquote.
Preach, just preach.
You get this super team together, 3 all-stars,
Yes.
three three superstars, really 3 superstars franchise, 2 franchise players for sure in Kevin Durant and James Harden. All 3 of them will be in the Hall of Fame one day. So we get all this talent together. We go out there, we sign some nice pieces. You get Patty Mills this year. You already had Joe Harris. They had some other pieces. Fine. We're fine with the construction of the team. Um, and we look at, all right, you're going to bring in Steve Nash. Yeah, there could have been some other better choices, but this is a new wave NBA ex player, especially ex point guard kind of players coach. This is where the NBA has gone in that direction with a ton of ex players, especially young, not too far removed from retirement players getting these jobs. They're supposed to be ahead of the game, analytics, blah, 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 blah. The franchise done an excellent job of drafting players, developing talent, um, you know, and what have you, giving them credit in terms of from that standpoint to allure to get Kevin Durant and to get Kevin Durant to come along with Kyrie Irving. So you get all this you get all this talent together. But the one thing that did not go into all of this, and again, we can put this. I put this on the players because this is a player dominated, superstar driven league. Stars make things happen. If a superstar wants to be traded, he's going to get traded. If a superstar wants a general manager or wants a coach fired, that coach is going to get fired. That the NBA players right now have more power than any other team sport, any players in any other team sports. Period. That's the way it is right now. Um, and I'm not mad at the players for having that power. It just is what it is. They probably, in many cases, I know it's hard to say, but considering
Real, this is not a time to qualify. Damn
no, it is, yeah, it is what it is. No,
not
it is
that.
what it is. What it is. I guess the one thing that gets left out of this
Damn,
that doesn't that doesn't get talked about, and we brought it up early in the podcast. Intangibles and character. So Kevin Durant, all-time great player. We know this. We know he's a cheat code, skill wise and all that. Left Steph Curry and left a potential of winning probably 5, 6, how God knows how many championships he could have won. He won 2. Would have 3-peated had he been healthy. When got the ruptured his Achilles in the finals a couple years ago. But even with that said, he comes back to Golden State. They're gonna win more championships with that him and Curry dynamic. It didn't even matter if Draymond was there now. They're gonna move Draymond, got another piece. Just having those 2 players on the court with role players would have been enough to win championships. But it wasn't good enough for KD. KD was like, yo, I want my own franchise. Like, I'm the best player on this team, but it's Steph's town. I want my own. Cool, KD. Cool. You know what? Go leave Steph Curry, leave the guy who we consider the closest thing we've seen to Tim Duncan, leave a franchise that hasn't done nothing but just make it to the finals 5 straight years. Just, leave that. Okay, good luck. Leave that. Go about your business. Who are you gonna sign up with? Oh, Kyrie Irving. Okay, you can pick your players, pick your franchise. You pick Brooklyn. Kyrie, you initially thought maybe going to the Knicks, but Kyrie is like, nah, let's try this Brooklyn thing. Let's try this Brooklyn thing. Let's try to take over New York. Cool. You leave Kyrie. You join Kyrie Irving, a guy who just left one of the 3 or 4 greatest players of all time and one of the most unselfish players of all time. That doesn't make you think about his character? Nah, we boys. No, Kyrie, we good. That's my dude. It's Kyrie Irving. He's like one of the most skilled point guards of all time. What you talking about character? Come on now. It's Kyrie. Do y'all know how great this dude is skill wise? How many playoff series has Kyrie won by himself? One, but no, that's all good though. It wasn't his fault. He cool. He with me. Cool. He's out the first year. Kevin Durant coming off the Achilles. You have Kyrie in that same year, injury, shoulder injury. Oh, nothing new because he hasn't had too many 70-game seasons that he's played. It's kind of been injured. Has kind of been injury prone. It has been injury prone. Okay, so we get to 2021 season. All right. Now Mr. Harden enters the place. Harden unhappy. Oh, James is unhappy. Why is he unhappy? Because he traded a guy who is going to be a top 5 MVP point guard for a guy in Russell Westbrook who is not playing, who can't even get on the court in the fourth quarters. That's why he's unhappy, and he's stuck with Russell Westbrook. And then Russell Westbrook goes out, so we move him, and now Harden, he's stuck with just a bunch of players, so he wants out. So let's go get Harden. Go get Harden. Okay, good. Let's go get Harden. Harden comes in. Harden, I've been carrying Houston all these years. I don't got to be the guy. KD, you and Kyrie, y'all got this. Y'all got this in terms of money time. I could just be the point guard, kind of facilitate. Boom, we all good. Here we go. But again, character, James Harden. How many times has he been to the finals as a league guy? 0. How many choke jobs have we seen in the playoffs? Multiple. And now we come to this place where KD gets hurt. Okay, it happens. He's been hurt before in his career. Kyrie is being Kyrie, erratic. We didn't see that coming after 5 or 6 years of a body work. Who could have saw that coming? Erratic Kyrie. Never would have thought it. And now James Harden is like, yo, I ain't signed up for this, man. What are we doing here? I ain't signed up for it. I ain't trying to carry what? Kyrie not playing and KD hurt. What's really good? What are y'all trying to do to me? This is not fair. And now you have a 9-game losing streak. You have a situation where the energy is horrible. You have a situation where, again, you don't know what you're going to do. Kyrie, you have a part-time player in Kyrie. You have a James Harden who we know when he clocks out, checks out, it's a wrap. 4-point game against Sacramento last week. 4 points against the Sacramento Kings. I'll repeat that. He scored 4 points against the Sacramento Kings. Now he's been out with the quote-unquote hamstring tightness. Okay. But we was good, though. We was supposed to be the 3 greatest scorers of this generation, 3 of the greatest offensive players ever. We was good. We boys. How was this not going to work? Your thoughts?
Okay, thank you for passing this mic to me, because I was listening to you talk, and I agree with everything that you said, and you try to take us down a linear path, and I was trying to think about how to conceptualize this, how to talk about this, and what has become just so very, very clear to me is there's no way to talk about this in a linear fashion. There's no way to encapsulate all that is this, and the more that I think about it, it's not fun. It actually makes me angry because it's detrimental to the soul of the game. This is one of those situations where everybody is right and everybody's so wrong at the exact same time, all the exact same time. Your essential comment is the best one. It's the one I've been thinking about constantly over this week. You are getting exactly what you deserve. Here is what I truly hope happens. I hope nothing happens. Harden deserves to stay on the Nets. Simmons deserves to stay on the Sixers, and they all deserve to burn. They just all deserve this. Everybody deserves this. Everything that's happened. That's what I'm saying. I'm not player power. I'm not doing any of that. This is why all the hate for LeBron James was so misplaced, and so misguided. And the reason why is because, to your point, at the point in time where LeBron took his ball and went to different places and everything like that, he had dragged an entire franchise to the heights that it could go with less players less talented players than he. To your point, what franchise is Simmons dragged anywhere? What franchise is Harden dragged anywhere? What franchise is Durant dragged anywhere? What franchise is Kyrie dragged anywhere? What franchise is Embiid dragged? I could go on and on and on and on.
I'm glad you brought up Embiid.
Wait,
He's
hold on.
getting what he deserved.
Yeah,
yes, your MVP season is gonna mean nothing.
Everybody. This is exactly what everybody gets this. Everybody's right, everybody's wrong. So the fact that, again, that's why I don't want to hear playing power. The fact that these guys are moving as if they're LeBron James and have not done anything even relatively close to him, honestly makes me physically ill. To my stomach. Now I'll get directly into this madness, this nonsense. You are 1,000% correct. Harden did not sign up for this. If I was Harden, I'd be like, you guys are insane. Of course I'm not playing for this franchise by myself. That was crazy town, because I never would have came here by myself. The Nets went crazy. They just went crazy. But this is who the Nets have always been. They've always been this way. Grab names and hope it works out. They are a much less version of the Lakers in this aspect, because the names that they put together are just weird most of the time. I'm not talking about the New Jersey Nets days with Kid. I'm talking about since then, since Prokhorov. They've just been absolutely insane. And so they were gifted this combination of Durant and Kyrie. And that was exactly what we thought it was. And then they brought in Harden, who had quit on another team, and bring him into this situation. And then when the domino that couldn't fall fell, there's no salvaging this situation. What both of these franchises should do, and there's been so much said on Simmons, I'm not even going to go into that aspect of it. What both of these franchises should do is just eat it. We made horrible choices, and we are reaping the rewards of our horrible choices, and nothing should save them. Nothing should save any of them, because what they should do is just eat it. We made a horrible choice. Harden, where do you want to go? Buy for whatever you get, because it was a horrible choice to bring you here. Buy. Simmons, buy. It was a horrible choice to go through this horrible thing called the process, and it ended up with this, and we were all wrong. Both of these franchises need to say they were wrong. We were wrong. We were wrong, and this is exactly what has happened. On the flip side of this, I also, again, I apologize. There's going to be no linear to this at all. When I think about like what has happened, it actually, it makes me angry at the soul of basketball, but it makes me happy for me, because I'm not crazy. And Ril, I have to dump your team, the Lakers, in this, because in all these situations, when I look at Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Lakers, if I bring them into this, in terms of like roster construction, how you go about building a team, how you go about shepherding a franchise, I'm like, everything y'all are doing, it seems wrong and is wrong. But you're the Lakers and all these great players. Maybe I'm crazy because everything seems wrong. So all of this had me thinking like I'm crazy, and I'm so happy to be validated. These were horrible decisions, and it should absolutely turn out this way. This is absolutely what they deserve. There was no way Kyrie, Kevin, and James Harden were going to work. There was no way it was going to work. Anybody that says differently is insane, and you deserve to watch this dumpster fire. James Harden and a bunch of players that you had to bring in. This isn't a team. Brooklyn's not a team, Ril. It's not a team. It's not, no, of course nobody wants to play. It's not a team. They weren't constructed to come together, build chemistry, figure out each other's playing styles, define each other's roles, come up with a cohesive offensive system, build. No. It was these three players and slap some things together, and these three players will score 800 points a game and will win. Nope. Turns out that's not a successful way to build a franchise. Losing culture in Philadelphia. And in both of these cases, what ultimately seals the deal to them getting what they wanted is they have babied these mother effers the entire time. Just babied them. Just babied them and handled them as if they are And so you now have a case where you have some hard decisions to make, decisions that won't make you popular, that will hurt a lot of feelings and everything like that. And as a franchise, you can't come out and say that. And because you can't come out and say that, you let the player take the player has the definitive control, especially public-wise, and public-wise, more importantly, to the other franchises, which lose you bargaining rights. This situation is so balls to the walls crazy because both of these teams simultaneously have leverage and no leverage. They both simultaneously have that. And it's like, who either does or doesn't blink first, who knows? If you swap these players, it honestly doesn't make any of these teams better. It honestly doesn't. And so if Philly gets Harden, we'll be talking about Harden wanting to be out of there the instant Embiid doesn't, whatever. The instant Embiid can't play for 3 straight games because his ankle hurts. And all of the things that go down. Embiid goes down, Harden no longer needs to play, right? Like, I mean, just and like Simmons, what?
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Simmons, you have Durant, Simmons with a part-time Kyrie.
Look, here's what I say. Milwaukee's no longer at all worried.
No. God, no.
They're not
or Miami, for that matter. No.
No. So sure. But this is a franchise that said it's okay that you play half the games and we give you a full salary. You don't deserve to win anything, and you will never win anything. I don't care who's on your team. I seriously don't. There are certain sins, and both of these franchises have committed cardinal sins that go, again, at the soul of basketball that are just unforgivable basketball karma-wise. These things are not winning decisions, and both of these franchises are getting what they want. I honestly hope they both burn to the ground. And that is my honest opinion in this moment.
I want to get back to the Harden part of this. So
if I was Harden, you wouldn't get me out there on that court.
If you're James Harden, right? No, I actually completely disagree with that. Because here's the thing, right?
I get my money whether I sit or play.
Yeah, I'm not. Like, of course, yeah. From that
Why
standpoint,
am I playing?
Yeah,
nobody cares about my reputation. I already tore that down.
Here's the thing.
Billy can't wait. The fans are eating. Everybody's excited for me to come. Why should he play a game? Why?
No, here's about
for
Harden.
For why?
Here's what I'm saying about Harden, and this is why I'm gonna bring up again with the character and intangibles thing.
Oh, doesn't care about any of that.
No, of course not. Yeah, that's a problem, right? Of course not.
But why should he play?
He doesn't. But if you're Harden, you had an opportunity here.
No.
With Durant coming back, you had an opportunity to carry your team at least until Durant came back. And like, you can't sit up here and, well, I didn't sign up for this. Yo, injuries happen. Like, people get hurt. That's what happens. It's COVID times. Right? Everybody's been ravaged.
This is not what he's brought there for. He wasn't brought there to carry the team.
Well, he was brought there. No. Not
And he didn't
completely,
come to
but
carry the team. That
no, but
was
here's
never part of it. It was just
no,
never part of it ever.
no.
So
He
to
wasn't brought
expect him to do
into.
that is crazy town.
He wasn't brought in to carry. He wasn't brought in to carry a team per se, but he was brought in. And he was going to be. He was viewed as their second best player coming in.
Sure,
Even yes.
sure.
So if
Yeah.
Durant is down for 46 weeks, be the best
And
player.
Kyrie refuses to play half the games.
Right. Yeah.
Who are you playing with?
Yes. Kyrie refused to play half the games. But if Durant is down for 46 weeks, keep the team afloat until Durant comes back. And then regardless of what happens the rest of the year, at least you can deal with the Kyrie situation in the offseason. At least show some pride in terms of yourself and your reputation. Like Harden had an opportunity here where you could have put yourself even in the MVP race again if you hold the team afloat while Durant is down.
You were signing things that Harden doesn't care about.
That's my whole point. Exactly. No. You're right. From that standpoint, you're right. He does not
things
care.
He doesn't care about, and it's showing he doesn't care about.
He does not care about.
Why would you expect anything else from him?
I don't. I know what he should do. I mean, you're right. I don't. What he's doing right now is clearly is who he is. Like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is 1,000% who he is. Which, like I said, gets back to my point of the whole of character, and that was the thing that, again, that players, one of the reasons why players make, for the most part, bad general managers. They don't take account. They just look at their talent, look at their own talent, look at the other players' talent, but they don't take account those type of intangibles, things that general managers and presidents of teams and organizations have to when it comes to picking out players and signing and picking out players or working with or signing or playing with your friends and what have you. But yeah, no, Harden is like, it's just like I said, he is never going to be happy. That's the thing about that's the common denominator of all three of those dudes. They are never going to be happy ever. Harden, Durant, Kyrie will never be happy, no matter what.
The Nets deserve this so much.
Yeah, yes.
They deserve. Yeah. Even though I'm arguing against it, it would make nothing better than Harden having to stay there and having to try to carry a team he does not care about. And them convincing him not to overeat and please play in the game, Harden. Oh my God. I would love that. They deserve nothing more than that. They really don't. They really don't.
Yeah.
So even though I'm arguing from his perspective, individual perspective, why shouldn't he? They deserve this so much. They deserve this so much. They deserve for Harden to try to carry a bunch of has-beens and never haves to relevancy for any amount of time. And, the underlying part of all this is that Kyrie and Harden hate each other.
Yes. No. That's 100%.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
You're right. Kevin Durant and Kyrie are boys.
Right. Yes. Yep.
And Kevin and Harden are boys. But Harden and Kyrie.
No, they're not. Nope. Not at all. Not at all.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that, Nets.
Oh man, yeah, no, Harden, no, everybody Harden in Philly. Oh my goodness, with the Harden in Philly.
The thing that makes sense is to trade both of these players. But again, these two franchises, particularly in these points in times in their franchise lives, don't do a lot of things that make sense.
No.
So obviously, everything says trade Harden. Of course. He doesn't want to be there. He can't get along with one of the big three superstars. He plays no defense. The rules have changed that impacted him. Of course, it says huge albatross of a contract. You get him out of there. You get him out of there for whatever, because it's a better situation to get him out of the team. But how would Durant feel about that? Will Durant be sad about it? Will Durant be mad about it? Will Durant go and pout? Then how will that impact Kyrie? And is Blake Griffin still alive? Where's LaMarcus Aldridge? Why is Patty Mills the only person who actually cares about playing basketball on the entire team? So many questions with the
Yep.
Nets. So
Yeah.
little answers.
Yeah. Well, let's go on the left coast because
Yeah, your team is
if you
dumb.
think it's bad in New Jersey, well, not that much
It's really
better.
bad in New Jersey. It's really bad in LA.
Is
Those are
yes,
too bad. Don't do that. Don't do that.
horrible,
The situation's bad. Jersey's
horrible.
very bad. I mean, Brooklyn's very bad as well. But go to your team. Yep.
So
This is not good. This is not good.
I'm watching the game last night, and if you need to be reminded, there's no debate about who's the best player in the world. Like it's not. It's really not even close, to be honest with you. Like Giannis just basically came on the Lakers court and basically was like, "Yo,
Should never let him win a chip. Uh-oh.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
I'm that dude.
That player gets that chip. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm that guy. It's mine.
Uh-oh.
It's mine, LeBron.
Out. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's mine, LeBron.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So
he's arrived.
Yeah, no, he's here to stay for a while.
Yep.
He's here to stay for a while. So I'm watching the game, and
how much did he have in that closeout game?
50.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yep.
50.
He's pretty good.
Came close last night. Had 44 last night. The game probably would have had 50 if the game would have been more competitive. Game would have been. They wouldn't have been up by 30 in the third quarter. He probably could have went for 50. I've never seen a player. I've been rooting for the Lakers going back to the 80s. I've never seen the Laker fans turn on a player the way they have just completely turned or attacked Russell Westbrook. I've never you gotta understand about this about Laker fans, people. Laker fans, I'm the aberration as far as psycho Laker fans. I'm not at the games. I'm not at the games per se. That Laker fans not at the games. You have some crazy Laker fans, but most of us we can't get into crypto dot arena Staples Centers. We're not at the game. So the Laker fans are, they cheer. They're not booers. Laker fans don't boo. I hadn't heard of Laker fans. I'm serious. I had not heard Laker fans boo, and we had some lean years. I mean, Kobe. Before LeBron got there was basically almost a decade or 8 or 9 years where the Lakers were not, 5 or 6 years where the Lakers were just horrible. When Magic retired, Lakers had a bad stretch in the 90s when the Bulls dominated where they were bad. Even through that, I don't remember the fans turning on the players or any individual player in particular. When you, on Saturday when they were playing the Knicks, and Westbrook was about to take a three, and the crowd was like, no. I mean, they're literally telling him, yo, don't shoot. He shot it anyway and missed. Like I said, I've never seen a crowd turn, a Laker crowd. We've seen this in other cities, of course, where other more rabid fan bases, but I've never seen a LA Laker crowd just be completely out on a player. I mean, when I mean out, like they would pay to get Russell Westbrook off the franchise. Like they would let's send him. We will trade him for some sneakers and 3 basketballs if they could. And I'm sure I'm sure the Laker franchise has got to that point in the Pelinka and LeBron where they at that point as well. But similar to Brooklyn, they're getting exactly what they deserve.
Yep.
No one in their right mind, basketball mind, could possibly foresee Russell Westbrook fitting with this roster constructed with LeBron James, where LeBron James dominates the ball and where you have a bunch of non-shooters.
Really don't even have to go that deep. It just made literally no sense. None.
And it's like, I'm like, yes, this is what was supposed to happen. This is what's supposed to happen.
He's a ball dominant apex scorer, and you want him to play off ball? Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. Oh yeah, he has the personality of a freaking psychopath, so he'll easily adopt his game to what suggestions anybody else has.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to play off the ball, and he's gonna play defense for us, and he's gonna set ball screens, and he's gonna do some of the little things. Really, because he's never played defense in his career. He doesn't set ball screens. He doesn't do intangible things. He doesn't do role player type things because in his mind he's the best player on the court. He's a
But
superstar. He's
but
Mr. Triple Double.
to the point, not even but to your point, this is why none of this was not known. Like
Right. No.
no one was fooled. He didn't shift his game and then they were like that. Nobody was fooled. Like this is all known, and you did it anyway. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who thought this was a good idea? Who thought this was a good idea?
And again, you can sit up here, and again, you can sit up here and you can put it on LeBron saying, "Well, LeBron wanted them." Well, you as a general manager, Rob Pelinka, you are allowed to tell LeBron like, "Nah, we're gonna go with the Buddy Hield and shooters and defenders." I'm sorry,
If
we just
LeBron's like, I want my Doberman to play point forward, we're just gonna be like, cool.
right, yeah, right.
You can make it work, LeBron. Like we're just gonna do opposite. I know I'm being a little bit facetious here, but come on, bro. We're fans on our couch, and we could have been blind fans on our couch. No shade of blind, just can't, just nothing. This was so obvious. This was bad. It was so obvious. So that's why it's just like, wait, what? Like, really? We can't say no to LeBron for anything?
Yeah.
You can just suggest whatever?
Yeah. No.
None of our pieces even remotely fit this, but okay. All right. Again, who thought this was a good idea? Who?
I mean, yeah, and it's like, yeah, who thought this was a good idea? And you can't sit up and tell me from a basketball standpoint that you can say that this makes sense in any way, shape, or form. Like you can't tell me, yeah, this is basketball. This is from a basketball standpoint, this makes sense. Like
and real, this is coming from a Westbrook fan, and
right.
Westbrook's from Los Angeles, so they wanted him to succeed. Like to your point, the fans didn't come into this season. We were all confused as all hell, absolutely, but they wanted it to work.
Right.
Diehard LA fans that you talk, they wanted it to work because he's an LA kid.
Yep.
But all of us could not reconcile how the hell this is physically going to work versus somebody's fantasy story that they wrote down on a piece of paper and put a happy in it, and the Lakers win a championship. Like, yeah, it's nice to dream those dreams, but how's it actually going to work? We'll figure it out. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
not really an answer, but okay. Sure.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, it's been worse than even I thought it would be. I envisioned. I never thought, even when this movie was made, like, no, they're not. This is not a championship team. Like, they're just not. They're not as good as Milwaukee. They're not Brooklyn. They're not Phoenix. Some of those teams, those top tier teams, that I thought would be in contention. But it's actually worse. Like you're talking about, it is February 9th. They are 3 games under 500.
Yep.
February 9th. It's not early anymore. It's not early anymore.
It's way past her.
Like the season is about 60% over. Like they played 82 games this season. They played like 55 games or 53 games. The season's more than halfway over. So it's not like, hey, still trying to figure it out. Like, nah, this is who you are. This is who you are. You're an old, non-shooting, team that doesn't defend, that has, a
Real.
superstar and an all-star and a bunch of
They are
guys.
exactly as their roster suggested.
Yes. Yes.
I hope this puts to bed for your franchise that we just need names. I hope this puts that to bed. I really do. I don't think so, but I hope it does.
Yeah, well, I mean, we
Every
win
time
the
y'all do
championship
it,
with
I
all
enjoy
name
it.
team. We got the
Every
all
time
name
y'all
team.
do it, I enjoy it.
Yeah, we got the all name
I
team.
really hope this puts that one to bed. The names got to be able to play and fit. Like, that's an important part of that equation.
And the thing about it, I think so. Look at Brooklyn. Look at the Lakers. They were built around these alleged big threes. Okay, per se. I really believe that teams. This is my personal opinion. I think that teams are going to go back the route of, okay, of course you got to have at least one superstar, but if we can get one and like 1.5 to two stars and just fill out the rest of our roster with depth, role players, pieces, that will be good enough to compete for championships and to stay relevant for a long time. Because when you try to go the 3-star route, the room for error is minuscule.
Oh.
Minuscule. I mean,
there is no error.
There's no room for error. There's no room for error. I mean, like, look at the two successful situations, right? In the last decade and a half, you had Boston, you had Miami. Boston, you had 3 guys who, at that point in their careers, were going to be all in. They're like, "Yo, we need a ring." They were going to be all in. They, they actually,
honestly, and we were both there for that, right? Boston was the perfect storm. It really was a perfect.
It was,
storm.
yeah, it was.
It really was a perfect.
It was.
That thing was never supposed to come together.
But yeah,
in terms of like they planned it and like all these different things, like nobody met over the Olympics and talking about let's get the 3 of us to get, none of that happened. It was the events folding out the way that they did that just kind of like allowed, and then once Pierce was there and Allen was in place, that trade, then Garnett was like, yeah, I can see it. Yep. But also they knew the pieces fit as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, the pieces fit, and you had there's got to be one guy that's willing to sacrifice. It's going that's just how it works. And Ray Allen was that dude. Ray Allen.
Yeah, but also they knew their games complemented each other and their personalities complemented each other.
Right. With Miami, you had a situation again where the pieces didn't fit.
Nope.
The pieces didn't fit, but you had the best player in the world in LeBron James, all-time great. You have Dwayne Wade, who at the time was a top 5 player, and you had a guy in Chris Bosh who was willing to sacrifice. So Chris Bosh.
And honestly, Wade sacrificed too.
Wade said yes, both of them said yeah, but Chris Bosh the most. Like Chris Bosh was literally.
Chris Bosh sacrificed game-wise. Wade sacrificed more
stature. Yeah.
Stature. Yep. That's a great way to say it.
Yeah. And that had and again, both of those situations were not extensive as far as success. Like, yeah, Miami won 2 championships, but you remember, everybody's like, "Yo, LeBron's somebody not 5, not 6, not 7." The lifespan was
for those short. That this is easy. All we have to do is just get together,
right?
And we're good,
right?
Championships just come. Nah, doesn't work like that.
Boston was in the finals twice, and I thought in the finals twice, and that was it.
Yep.
One championship.
Yep.
So I think moving forward, like
adding a 50-50 percentage.
Right. Like I think moving forward, like they're about, and you can chime in on this. There are about 8 to 10 guys in this league that matter. There are about 8 to 10 guys who are that dude as far as like, yo, these are superstar. This guy is a franchise superstar player. I can win. I could possibly win a championship if this guy is my best player. Maybe less than 10. Maybe 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Might even be 7 to 8.
Honestly, I'm going 5, to be honest with you.
5?
Yeah.
Like I'll say like Giannis, Durant, Curry, Jokic. I would say
Pull up the
Jokic.
list. I'm not convinced on Jokic yet. But
I think Jokic. I think
disagree
Jokic has
with
that
him.
potential.
I don't disagree with him. But I'm not convinced yet, but I don't disagree with him.
But let's say guys who let's say
group, right? The group that hasn't won a championship yet, I would probably put Jokic at the top of that list.
along
He's
with
the type of player I would want to build my franchise around.
I would, yeah, I would build my franchise around Jokic. I would. Like
no, that's what I'm saying. He's the type of out of the guys who haven't won a championship yet, right? Like everybody's name had already won a championship, so that can be a little unfair, and I get that. And so out of that next level of superstars that haven't won a championship yet,
Jokic, Luka,
Jokic and Luka, yeah, those are two dynamics.
So they're about let's say they're about 6 or 7 guys that really matter. That really matter. My point is you need one of those guys, right?
Yes.
You need one of those guys. So you need one of those guys. You get one of those guys if you're lucky. The rest, I think, man, like I just don't like. Again, I think that they're the super team. I think that's done. I think it's done.
That's why you gotta root so hard for, or at least I do, root so hard for like Milwaukee and Phoenix, right? Like Phoenix. Yes. That's a lot to say. In Phoenix. Because quote unquote, they did it the right way. It's a team. Those are teams.
Yes. Golden State is a team.
Crazy me to want to watch a team sport have an actual team. I know. That's wild. Who doesn't just want to see one player dribble the basketball for the entire game? Who doesn't want that? But
think about this, Rob.
In a team sport, I really like to see the entire team be well built out. I do. That's just me. I'm nitpicky like that.
Go ahead. So there are 4 right now. Like I would say there are 4 teams that could possibly win a championship right now. You have Phoenix, Milwaukee, Golden State, and Miami. Okay.
I love Chicago, bro.
I like Chicago a lot too. I'm not quite sure they're ready to take that jump to a championship.
I love Chicago.
I like, to your point, they're a team though. They're a team.
I love Chicago. I would not be mad at seeing them in the finals. I wouldn't
be surprised too. And even look at what it sounds heresy to say, but look at what Cleveland is doing.
Oh yeah, Cleveland. What? Come on now. They number 4. Come on, we got to give them credit. Credit is due. That is due.
And by the way, anybody we talked about Joe Burrow. Watch out for this dude, Evan Mobley. That's a rookie that's impacting winning in his first year. The rookie.
Yeah.
Impacting
I
winning.
really like players that impact wins and losses. Yes. I really do.
I really do, yes. We love those players.
And their stats. Their stats are going to be good because they're going to be good. Horrible players don't impact games, winning games. So, of course, they're going to have good stats. But, man, I really feel like for whatever reason, we really undervalued winning. We have.
Yep.
I liked him for that exact reason, Ril.
So we look at those franchises, and even I would even put them in this conversation when if Murray can come back. The Denver Nuggets, they have a lot of, like they're a team from that standpoint. That core has been together for like 2 or 3 years.
I really enjoy watching Denver play,
and they play together. Like to your point, there's a cohesiveness. Look again, Brooklyn's going to be a failure. The Lakers are going to be a failure. The Clippers fail miserably. That's another team that had a bunch of names. It looked great on paper. Nah.
I think NBA franchises need to start to be honest with themselves. I think quote unquote player empowerment was great. It might have gone the other way too far.
It has. No. It has.
I know. I know. So I think some franchises, what is the true cost of having one of these superstars? Because it's not just that they're going to play well for you on the court. It seems like your entire franchise orbits around them in their mood and their health and everything like that. And I don't know if it's that smart to keep doing that, particularly with players who aren't in that 7. Particularly
Right.
players who aren't that 7. And
Right.
too many players who aren't that are getting that treatment. And that is really, really hurting franchises. And I would say the quality of basketball, to be honest with you. But you know me, I'm just an old person. I'm just an old fogey who likes to watch good basketball.
Yeah.
Competitive basketball. Good competitive basketball. You know, players who want to play
Yeah. Who
out every
wants
single night
who
compete.
yeah,
Yeah,
who wants to win?
Crazy.
Who wants to
Crazy.
win games? Like I
Crazy,
gotta find
all these crazy ideas I keep thinking. But yeah, I do. I enjoy it. I enjoy competition.
yeah, who wants to win
That's what I thought
games? And I
sports
think
was. But
we talked about the player empowerment. Like part of the rise of player empowerment coincided with just organizational dysfunction. Like, so if I'm a player, right, and if I'm even close to
I want
being,
to choose my destiny.
choosing my destiny, but I'm also looking at how many we talked about the Sixers, we talked about a number of franchises that are just poorly run. There's so many poorly run franchises. You have these superstar players like, yo, what am I going out here dropping 25 to 30 a game for so and so for y'all to draft this dude or for y'all to sign this dude?
Yeah.
Like, or for y'all to trust the process.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like what? So if I'm a player of that ilk, I'm like, yo, I can do better off picking the players than what y'all doing.
Yeah.
That was one of the rises the growth of player empowerment, choosing your own destiny, but also just a lack of just quality franchises to make just regular, stable, sound decision making.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I hear that. And so then I raise you a Kevin Durant. So what's his problem?
I'm gonna raise you too. I'll raise you. I know. I'll even go before. I'll raise you Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you got to choose your destiny. What? Why so mad, bro? All the time.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
You
got all the things. You got all.
You got everything. Yes, you got a world class franchise that wanted to win.
There lies the problem, right? It's like, and that's what I mean by the pendulum swung too much in the other direction. It's like, all right, I get everything I want. Am I satisfied? Nope. I want more now. Everybody needs to feed into my ego. Everybody needs to be around my feelings and my emotions, right? And so it's like, again, let's take Kyrie. Kyrie got to choose his own destiny, did he? Twice.
Yes.
As a matter of fact.
Yes.
Two times. And he didn't like being responsible for the team's success. That was a problem for him in Boston. Didn't love that.
Right.
I did also. He needed to go out of there. Then get to New York. And now he doesn't like the fact that a biological nightmare that's been unleashed on the world requires him to get a vaccine in a certain city. So now he's mad at that, which has nothing to do with basketball or choosing your destiny or anything like that. And he's so mad that he's going to refuse it. And then again, that pendulum swung completely in a direction. Instead of the team reacting like, what do you mean you're not going to come to work today? That's crazy because we're paying you. They go, cool, just play half the games.
Right.
But we'll give you a full salary. And he's still irritated. So I don't know, Ril. I don't know how you stroke someone's ego enough outside of just being like, do as you feel, play as you feel, and take all of my money. I don't know how that leads to winning basketball. I really don't. I don't. I'm confused by that whole philosophy. I really
don't. It's
that's what I mean by the pendulum swinging too much. It's not that I don't want players to be able to choose their own destiny, money, all the different things. Of course I do. Anybody does. Any rational person does. But what is becoming painfully obvious is that just like with a child, if you give them everything they want, they don't go, you know what? I really appreciate how hard you're working for all this and meeting my needs. What can I do for you? Nah, that doesn't happen. They want more. And that's what's going on right now. And as the other analogy I have in my head is like when you make a copy and you make a copy, the copy
It gets
deteriorates.
worse. It
It
gets
gets
worse.
worse over time. It's like, yep, if the model was LeBron in terms of like this whole thing, now copy, and now we are on the 7/8 copy and we can barely see it.
Yes.
And nobody understands what's going on and why. Is this a memo? Is this a reminder? Is this just a flyer I should throw in the trash? What is this thing that is here? And in our analogy, this thing is not only just a bad copy, it's also saying I want to be president, CEO, and I need to be the highest paid salary. And also I don't want to come to work ever. Or when I feel like it.
Here's all those points are you're 1,000% right. Here's where, and I just had this thought where I'm encouraged though for the future. I'm encouraged with the Golden States of the world. I'm encouraged with the Milwaukee's. Yeah. Obviously with Phoenix.
Why you root for them? They start winning championships. Absolutely. They become the models.
I'm encouraged with the up and coming teams. You have Chicago. You have what's going on in Memphis. That is beautiful. Beautiful to watch.
I love Chicago.
Beautiful. You have a guy who actually cares about winning in Ja Morant, who's not afraid of anybody. Teammates love him, wants to win, not backing down for nobody, loves his teammates.
I really like when you say that, Ril. Wants to win.
Wants to win, yes. What a novel thought. Wants to win.
I love that concept. I really do.
And you have a franchise that has made some good decisions.
Yeah.
Like they drafted. They think about this, Sap. They actually draft and develop their players.
Wait, Ril, are you saying there are players out there who don't care if the media was mean to them that night? and that's the reason they're gonna pout and not shoot the next game? Those players exist.
I like what's going on even with the team like Charlotte, Cleveland. So there is, folks. There's some light possibly at the end of this tunnel. There's some light at the end of this tunnel because
you're right.
You think about it. You got, and I hope he plays another 4 or 5 years. Of course, I enjoy watching him play basketball. But these guys like the Hardens, Kyries, Durant, they're getting older. So those, like, there's a shift. We talk about the shift in the NFL. There's a shift going on, I think, in the NBA with this youth movement is coming. So I think that, yeah, player empowerment is fine, but I don't, like I said, I really believe that with this Brooklyn and Lakers situation that we could be like this super team, quote unquote, this 3-star model, and even with the salary cap going up, I just think that this model could be put on pause. It's going to be put on pause for a few years. I really do. And and by the way, it's a great thing, not a good thing.
No, it's a great thing.
Great thing.
Here's what this is definitively said to me, and this is what is fantastic. There is no shortcut to winning a championship.
Nope.
Can't cheat this. Can't cheat this. The Golden State situation was an anomaly, and even that only yielded 2 more championships, right?
Right.
So you can't cheat your way to this. You can't.
Nope.
Cheat it. You can't suck. You can't not compete and then get a bunch of draft picks and then it's all magically going to turn into a championship run. You can't just grab a collection of the greatest offensive players together and put them together. You can't even have one of the greatest players of all time in a triple-double machine and a freak center and just throw these elements together and not have any idea about how it's going to work. It takes everybody to win a championship. It really, really does. Even the players out on the back of your bench, they challenge the players in practice. They they do all the different things. If you don't have all of that, like it's amazingly hard to win a championship for a reason, right? In anything. And it's because all the things that you have to do. And then all the other things have to break your way.
Yep.
So here's what you definitely can't do. You definitely can't shortcut the things you're supposed to be doing. Practicing on a daily basis. Building good habits. Identifying roles and responsibilities. Chain of command. Good salary cap management. Player development. The list goes on and on. The list goes on and on. But you have to do all those things. You have to do them all at a high level to even have a chance at a championship.
Yeah.
So it really does make me physically ill when I'm listening to these Brooklyn Nets fans, and they're just like, if we just do this, and when Kevin Durant coming back. This is a dumpster fire, and y'all will not win a championship.
No.
Period.
I don't care. Kevin Durant can average 40. It doesn't matter. No matter.
You don't deserve this.
No, you don't. You don't. No.
Just because the 4 times these guys are on the court together
right, exactly.
in 2 years, they scored a lot of points. No, right. I'm sorry. No. Nope. If that actually did get a championship, Surreal, I think it would have been the worst thing ever for basketball. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
that would have been a horrible message.
Yeah.
And I would love to say people in management positions in NBA would have been able to actively fight against that message, but nah. We would have had everybody out here trying to sign 3 players who have names.
Yeah. No, the right team, the right team won the championship last year. The right that hopefully that will, like I said, start off a string of where you, like you said, you see balanced teams, cohesion, teams that sign the right free agents. I mean, look at
this would be great if this was the death of the super team era.
Yeah,
this would be great if this is kind of like the death now. It would be appropriate.
I mean, you talk about championship coaches and great coaches. I'm looking at I'm not Miami. So Miami's playing well. I'm looking at Milwaukee, and fucking Bobby Portis is averaging 15-9 and has become a vital part of a team that could win another championship. Like Bobby Portis.
That is my fantasy sleeper guy. Love me some Bobby P.
Yes, shoots a 3.
But to your point, like that fantasy that I'm up, like he's a really good player.
Yes.
And has developed every single year. He didn't start off that way.
No.
At all.
No.
He wasn't even fantasy relevant 2 years ago.
No.
And so even for him to spark up in that way is development in his game, and then to see how he's developed even further, that's good organizational structure. That's good stuff. That's what you want. Because you actually do need every single player on the court to contribute. You really do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
So it behooves you to develop some of these guys. It really does. It does. It matters.
Yeah, man. I want to give and I'm sure you do this at your school. Give shout outs to students and staff members. I want to get some NBA shout outs. I want to get some NBA shout outs. I think lost in all the drama and Lakers, Knicks, excuse me. What did I say? Knicks? Lord, no, not the Knicks. Lakers, Nets.
The Knicks are in a perpetual state of drama.
The Knicks. Oh, the Knicks are the Knicks. That's who they are. They're the Knicks.
That's the default setting.
The Knicks are the Knicks. But
they can't help those. They couldn't build off of They just
can't.
No,
of course not.
They can't handle any positivity. It's like, Julius Randle's doing out. Oh, you know what? We'll all. I can't with them. I can't with them. I truly can't.
The Knicks.
I don't get how Chad can do that. I don't get
I don't see how he doing it. I don't see how him and
all the work. You're literally the work. You cannot enjoy success to save your life.
But the two shout outs I want to give are
anti-success.
I want to give a shout out to the Toronto Raptors. That team plays hard. every single night. And I mean, like Fred VanVleet, like what is an all-star? Are you kidding me? Like who saw this coming
Figure it
5 years
out.
ago?
I can't. But yes,
That team,
yes.
that team, and Nick Nurse is a legitimately one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in the league. Legitimately, like that's a real thing. Like that dude coaches his ass off every single night. They play hard every night. Um, yeah, I really enjoy
That
watching the play.
with a different coach, when you have great culture in your organization, you could do things like that.
Yep.
So I could not agree more with this shout out.
And the next one, Chris Paul. Like
Just, yep.
Chris Paul was basically left for dead
Yep.
when they traded him for Russell Westbrook. Can you Chris Paul got traded for, not only did they have to give up Chris Paul, they had to give up draft picks to get Russell Westbrook.
Yep. Sure did. Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna go down as one of the most lopsided trades ever. Ever. Like that literally, like you couldn't have 2 players going in opposite directions in terms of their careers. Like in the same era around Chris Paul. No, Chris Paul's older. He's older than Westbrook. Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. He's old. He's like 5 years older than Westbrook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Woo. And LeBron is obviously playing at an extreme high level in year 19. I don't care because the team's losing. I want to remember, I don't care. I can't celebrate losing. Can't do it. Can't celebrate losing. But he's still playing at a high level, and everybody talks about him in his later stages and how he's playing. Chris Paul is fucking 36 years old at a spot where we've seen it. You saw this even with Gary Payton. Point guards get old fast. They get old fast. Well, Russell Westbrook, they get old fast, and when it goes, it goes. It's
Chris Paul confuses me more than any other player. Because it's kind of like the opposite of what we were talking about with the Rams. The image of Chris Paul is as an immortal, right? Like that, the image of him, his nickname is the point god, right? But his resume doesn't read that. So I get so confused, but he's a dominant player in terms of orchestrating his offense and the thing that I can never ever say Chris Paul doesn't want to win every single game.
No.
I think I respect that so much.
Yes.
And it's different from Westbrook, who also wants to win every single game, but isn't willing to make the sacrifices necessary to win some of those games, right?
I'm gonna push back. I'm gonna push back on the Westbrook wanting to win. No, I'm sorry. He wants to put up numbers and then win as.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The successful,
right.
the sacrifices. In Westbrook mind, Westbrook equals Allen Iverson, and we saw Allen Iverson, who is still the greatest player I've ever seen live, like just flat out. But that's not somebody I would want to build my team around,
right?
Because that mentality that gets you there, the underdog, I'm going to kill everybody, can also be your worst enemy in a lot of cases. And in Westbrook's case and Iverson's case, it was their own worst enemy. That singular belief in themselves and their talent is fantastic, but you play a team game and you particularly play a position that needs to support the rest of the team. And so that's what makes that challenging. Back to Chris Paul. Chris Paul wants to win, makes necessary sacrifices to win, but also is the worst as well, personality-wise sometimes, and can grind on teammates to the point they don't want to play with him anymore.
Right.
So is that the most successful strategy? So that's why Chris Paul's image, his aura is closer to an immortal, but his resume doesn't read like that. And I think if I summed it up right now, he understands that and is trying to get that last bullet point on his resume.
Yeah, I've completely changed on Chris Paul in the last 4 years, and
No challenge to figure out.
I'm gonna tell you why.
As a
So up until like you go through his career with New Orleans and then the Clippers, right? There's this he's just without question up until Steph Curry came along, the most dominant point guard in the league. He just does everything. Like there's literally nothing he can't do. The postseason success didn't come with it, but he would still get put up there as one of the all-time greatest point guards in the game in history. And I'm like, yo, but it's not producing results. And I'm seeing, I'm seeing him with talented players like New Orleans. Forget about New Orleans. They didn't have talent. He wasn't. He took him as far as they ever was gonna go with.
But his stock was up because of that. Like nobody was like, oh, Chris Paul's not winning. He's like, we're all like, oh my God, look what he's doing with this squad.
Right,
this is amazing.
Right, and then he gets to the Clippers. They have all the talent in the world, and they still. Not only do they come up short, they have some of the great choke jobs of all time. Now, there were moments where obviously a lot of things we talked about how hard it is to win a championship. A lot, you have what we've come to find out now is that like obviously he has some injuries there. Doc Rivers, obviously, we've come to find out that Doc is just not that good. And he probably played a significant role in their not winning or advancing past the second round.
Yeah,
to say the least. To say the least.
Yes.
And
he was definitely part of the problem. Let's just say that.
Yes. So to your point, yeah, he grinded on them. He was that dude where like on DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and all that. But since then, look at his career.
He absolutely got the best out of him.
Since then, look at his career. He goes to Houston. They come within a inkling of. I mean, they are right there with Golden State, a dominant Golden State team. Like they're literally like that.
They are, but
they're right there.
Game 7. Part of the reason they lost.
Yes, he got hurt. Yes, he got hurt. Yes, he got hurt, and that was part of the reason.
A lot. Yes, that happens a lot.
Yes, and it was happening a lot. That was part of the that was part of that was part of his deal. Like he couldn't physically go through 4 rounds.
It still is part of his deal. Last year he was breaking down.
Yeah,
it is still part of his deal. It is.
That's part of his deal. That's part of his. That's definitely part of his deal. But like that team again, they came right. They were right there with Golden State. They get traded. He gets traded to Oklahoma City, and we just thought that he was just going to figuratively.
That's why you say he never cheats the game.
In the Golden State,
I did. I did. And I was not blaming him or nothing. Nope. I was just like, yep, that's what happened. He'll go to Golden State. He won't play a game or he will barely play. And then he'll get to a team that he really wants. So we understood the trade and why he was in Golden State. He was not there to make them a successful franchise. That wasn't part of the deal. But keep going. You're absolutely right.
Takes them to the first round, game 7 against a clearly more talented Houston team with Harden and Westbrook.
One of the just mind-boggling things that happened. I could not believe he did that. I could not believe he did that. Just mind-boggling. Who does that?
Yeah, no, that was that was just insane. I was like
that much everything the anti-Harden, right? Literally,
yes,
I'm like,
that was the anti-Harden. This is a tough situation, but I'm making the best of it. Yes, I made the best out of it.
I would have said the exact same thing for Chris Paul. No, of course, who does that? Who would want to play for them for no reason this?
I don't care about your draft.
I'm like, who does that? Who takes this bum team to the playoff for no reason? Who does that? He does.
And then he changes the culture in Phoenix in 1 year.
Yep.
So. I think that he hasn't won a championship, but I can honestly say I think he's a winner. I think he has that mentality. I think he's a winner from that standpoint of I would want him on my team. Like
yes.
I would.
Now that I completely agree with. I am not saying no to Chris Paul.
No,
at all.
I would want him on my team, and I think that he. I mean, I think he made some changes. He matured from the state. He's not grinding to the level he was with
Yeah.
with
And I think
DeAndre,
that has
with Blake
been
Griffin.
yes.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's calmed it down somewhat, not all the way.
And honestly, he leaves Devin Booker the F alone.
Yes, well, yes, just Devin Booker.
He just leaves them alone.
No, yeah, because Devin Booker is that dude.
Right.
Devin Booker is a beast. So,
but even the old Chris Paul wouldn't have done that.
No, he wouldn't. Yeah, because Blake was
that dude.
Blake was a beast.
He was that dude.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, when you got Blake was that dude.
I mean,
but I will say this:
everything on that is the Chris Paul trade. To your point, the Chris Paul trade was looked at as the thing that was going to put them over the top because Blake was that dude there. Like the Clippers were fine in terms of just like their amount of popularity relevant to the Lakers. They were second fiddle, and they were fine being second fiddle. That move stated like, they actually want to try to be champions.
Right.
And so like that, but the reason that the Clippers were even on anybody's radar was because Blake Griffin was that good.
Blake. Yes, that was the beginning step, foundational piece to where it mattered to get Chris Paul. But I'll say this, and I saw this happen similar with the New Jersey Nets. Right? You look at since he left the Clippers. Look at those dudes' careers after he left. Look at Blake Griffin. Look at DeAndre Jordan. Look at JJ Redick. They have not been the same players since he left. They have not been nowhere near the same players. And it's similar. I remember the Nets back in the day with Jason Kidd. When Jason Kidd left, got traded to Phoenix, you never heard a word you never heard again from Kerry Kittles, Kenyon Martin. Them dudes fell off the cliff. Off the cliff.
Yeah.
They fell off the reservation. So that to me made that's this is next level value. That when you talk about impact on winning and how valuable you are, that it's kind of like when LeBron leaves Cleveland. Cleveland before this year, when LeBron used to leave, it was like, damn, they might as well not even have a team. So like I said, my respect for Chris Paul has increased as the years have gone by, especially now. Now, it's like, all right, yeah, this dude he's a killer. He plays every game like it's his last, and he wants that. Like I'm in a way, like you're rooting for Aaron Donald. I'm in a way rooting for Chris Paul.
Totally. Now this year, it has to be all about Chris Paul.
Yeah.
The Bucks got their first chip. Even if
Bucks got their chip.
Finals, you gotta sway over to you want Chris Paul to win the championship.
Yeah, you want Chris Paul to win a champion. Yeah,
he's earned it. He's earned it.
Yeah, no,
he's earned my respect to be in a neutral situation to root for him.
Yeah.
He absolutely earned that respect.
It should be it's like I said, the NBA. And I wanted to bring this up to you. The NBA has now completely obviously different situation as far as, the playoffs is single elimination with the NFL, but there's a similar energy that the NBA season has that the NFL season has, like not knowing kind of what's going to happen, and like it's somewhat similar to me, not to the extent, but it's a night on night excitement in terms of what maybe because it's the shift that's happening and to see it in real time is pretty cool. But I'm really looking forward to the second half of the season in the playoffs in the NBA this year. I really am. Like I want to see how these young teams developed, and Ja Morant, and with the Cleveland situation, and of course you still have some of the old guard, obviously with Chris Paul and the Greek, and they repeat things like that nature. But there's a shift happening that's pretty exciting. Chicago in the postseason, that should provide some big time excitement for the NBA in the postseason, in the rest of the regular season. and also
Here-
the postseason.
Here's what I've noticed since I've really dived back in these last 2 years of the NBA season. Now this is really going to inform my third just kind of like really deep dive into the NBA season, paying attention to all these games, so many games. Is that just gotta get past this trade deadline. Then it feels like the season takes its for real shape after the trade deadline. This period of time, it just destabilizes so many teams and so many. Everybody gets emotional and secretive and crazy. It's just bad. It's just all around bad. Everybody's in their feelings. And it's like once that trade line, now everybody's comfortable. Now we can get rolling. So I am so super excited for basketball after February 10th. And to really, really dive in, lock in. It'll be great to watch the dumpster fires that deserve it, absolutely. But to your point, that's when it's time to really focus in on who's good, why are they good, and what are their chances and their opportunities. Because I agree with you. Right now, I don't have a firm idea, right, of who's going to be in the championship game. I don't. But I haven't had my mind set there because I know there's so many peaks and valleys in the NBA season, but a big time valley is the trade deadline.
Right.
Big time valley. So we got to get past this, and then people will now move as they're going to move. Like for real. Like, okay, this is who we got. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting in the Eastern Conference. I still think Milwaukee's the team to beat.
We can just stop paying attention to some teams. It's like,
but,
right. First. I don't want to look at you. I don't have to.
But Miami's right there.
Bye-bye, Indiana. Bye-bye, Indiana.
Oh no, yeah, they're just
Can I just say, sometimes fantasy is reality. I could never ever figure out Sabonis, but everybody kept saying he's great. He's at this level. You got to pay this much money for him. Every time I paid this much money, I regretted it, and I hate Sabonis because of it. And bum ass squad. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I think so.
I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No Jokic. No.
No, God, no. Yeah, no. Sabonis is a very good player.
That's just my own personal beef with Sabonis.
Yeah, Sabonis is very.
Same beef with Van Fleet, but Van Fleet's a beast.
Yeah, Sabonis is very good, but no, he's.
Nah, don't go down my crazy. I don't know if I believe this, but I believe it right now. But don't go down my crazy. I can't really crush.
I feel very confident in saying
his
that.
His was horrible, or was what? Anyway, yeah.
I feel very confident in saying that unless injuries withstanding, that we're headed towards a Golden State Phoenix Western Conference Final showdown. I feel very confident saying
that. That would be very, very fun. I would very much enjoy that. I very much hope you're right.
Yeah, those two teams are.
I approve of that finals.
Yes. Yeah, those two teams are like probably two of the three best teams in the league. They have been the two best teams in the league this year, easily. And yeah, that is a Chris Paul, Steph Curry 7-game series for 2 weeks. I can get
to your point with that new group, I would very much like to see Denver and Dallas take that next step. Watch those superstars take that whatever that next step is for them.
Yeah.
Because I remember those playoff series very much last year. And I would like to see them level up. So I can start into some of this hype.
I think Denver is going to be dependent on health. Like they got to get Murray and Porter Jr. back to have any chance. Like it's been. I mean, like I said, that's how dominant Jokic has been because he's missing his second and third best players. Like they haven't basically Jokic. The Murray hasn't played all year long, and Porter Jr. has only played 9 games, and Denver is still like a 60. Yeah. So yeah,
When you
like
start talking to me about who somebody doesn't have, that feels like loser talk to me, and then I start
no, I'm not
discounting.
saying no, but I'm saying though they need in order to them to be relevant, in order to them to
I
take that step,
understand.
they have
I
to have those two
understand.
players like that.
I
No, there's not.
understand.
They
But we
have to
just
have those two
said
players.
Jokic was the best to build around. So what? We're just gonna watch him lose in the second round again and again.
I mean, if they don't have those two players, then they won't. It might not be a second round. Like that, those two they have to have those in the
That's
Western
what I'm
Conference.
saying. So okay, all right.
Yeah, no, listen, no,
Then
Jokic.
don't talk to me about Jokic being one of the top whatever.
Oh no,
Man,
he's one of the dudes. Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's definitely
these two
one
concepts
of
aren't
the
making sense to me. They just
he-
aren't.
he's definitely one of the guys like you want to build around. Yes, well he's one of the most important players in the league. Yes, without question. That's not even that goes without saying. I'm saying my point to you is for them to take that next step, they have to have those two
Jokic
players.
has more help.
They're not more help. Guys that are already on the team that are
I
injured.
know you're talking about because Murray's been going
I
for
ain't
a while.
saying I'm not talking about go out sign free agent
I
or go
know.
out. Yeah, these are their players.
I know.
Like yes, they need those two players to be relevant as far as taking that next step, having any chance to take that next step against like a Phoenix or Golden State. Dallas just isn't talented enough. They need more help. Like they need more. That team is just that like they have some nice pieces. They're just not as talented. They don't have a legit like who's his number two. I mean Porzingis, he's played decent this year, but Porzingis is like no. Like I can foresee. I can't see Luca. Like they have a year to kind of get their stuff together, or we're gonna be talking about Luca as one of these superstars that's forcing a trade. That's my prediction from them. Like that, like they need more help. He needs more help. And by the way, he needs to come in. He needs to come into the league. He needs to come in the season in shape. Actually, how about that, Luca? How about being in shape? How about not playing your way into shape and being in shape during the off season as well as coming into the season? That would be nice.
I really feel like you're coming down to my five. There are
No,
five.
no. So here, no. There's a difference between like. All right, let's we'll leave on this note. It's like when I mean like there are 7 to 8 guys who matter. I'm talking about 7 to 8 guys who I would be willing to build my team around. That's a different list than the 5 who you know definitively can be the best player on a team that can win a championship. Those are two separate lists, right? Like the team, the players who we know could be the best player on a championship team. We know definitively Steph Curry. We know Giannis. We know LeBron. We know even Kawhi has been the best player on a championship team. So that list is very, very that's a minuscule list.
Yeah, that's the list I was talking about.
But I'm talking about guys who, when I mean,
yeah, no, I hear you. I'm glad you clarified.
yeah, I had to
First,
clarify that. But when I talk about guys who matter, I have to include Luka matters, Jokic matters. Like you're still those guys. He matters. Those guys matter.
Absolutely.
Even Joel Embiid matters.
Absolutely.
But that list in terms of best player on a championship team, that's a very short list.
I get it. Nope. Now, we're on the same page now. I get it. I understand what you're saying.
But yeah, getting back, Dallas needs some. They need some more pieces. I'm not here's what I won't accept this year. I'm not accepting a 7-game loss in the first round because the West is not even that good at the bottom half. So Luka, he needs to win at least a playoff round this year. Like for real. Like not that it looks great putting up numbers in the first round, losing in 7, but nah. You've done 2 years of that. Now get to the second round in the Western Conference.
You know what? I think I'm also reacting to Real. I think I'm reacting to again like this, like he's a MVP, greatest scorer. I'm not just talking about Luka, just all the buzzwords that go out around these players. And to your point, it's just like, can they win a first round playoff series?
Yeah.
Before we start.
I mean, Jokic got a team to the conference finals a couple years ago.
No, I said I'm not just talking about like I'm just all these buzzwords that come around. I agree. You know, even when we talk about, I agree with you on Jokic. I do. Yep. I agree with you. There's no disagreement there. My statement is I would like to see them take the next step, and we got on that. But to your point, everything that you're saying is true. And then I'm also get very annoyed at commentators, the outside noise that wants to crown some of these guys. Before to your point, they even win a first playoff
Yeah.
series.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Listen. I will never like. You have to be blind, literally blind, to not know how talented Luka is. We know he's this guy is he is a generational talent. But I'm saying though that needs to translate to eventually some wins. Like
I mean,
yeah,
you would think.
that's all I'm saying.
You
That
would think.
yeah, that needs to translate to some wins in some form of fashion. I'm not talking about. Listen, I know Dallas isn't a championship team. They're not even a Western Conference Finals team per se. But in this Western Conference where you had the Lakers, you have a number of perennial teams, playoff teams that are just not good. Portland, the Lakers, these teams, they're not good anymore. Like they're just not good. So you should be able to win. Dallas with Luka, who considered to be a top 5 player, you should be able to win at least the first round and get to. If you lose to Golden State Phoenix in the semifinals, cool. I had no problem with it. I expect you to lose, but you should be able to win a first round series. That's all I'm saying in the Western Conference. So if we're going to toss around all these superlatives, the new Larry Bird and stuff like that, or this right. That's what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, best player you want to build around, after LeBron, not after LeBron, but in this new generational thing. Which, by the way, it's clearly Giannis. If you're taking you're starting a team with Giannis, not Luka. Okay, I want to make that clear. But Luka is mentioned in that realm, that conversation. But yeah, you need to win a playoff series this year. And I really be putting the pressure. I don't care. By the way, I don't care what the matchup is, unless you're playing Golden State or Phoenix. You need to win. I don't even care if you. I don't even like Utah. Like I'm not in love with Utah, to be honest with you. Like at all.
We know what Utah is.
Yeah, we know what Utah is. We know. Yeah, we know.
I try to be on it right now. We know Utah is exactly who we think they are. They're exactly who we think they are.
Yeah, no, we know what Utah is.
We will stack up plenty of regular season wins.
Yes.
Nah, they ain't gonna get it in the playoffs.
No, it's not. No,
unless Donovan Mitchell makes an insane leap.
Yeah, no, Rudy Gobert can't be your second best player.
He can.
No, that's just
no.
Not Rudy. No, not
Kevin
Rudy.
Durant dreams of Rudy Gobert switching on to him.
Yes,
dreams of it. No, he cannot be your second best player.
No, he can't. He can't. So, yeah, I need to see. Yeah, Luka. I'm definitely. You need to. Need to win a playoff round. Just make us take a small step. Just a step.
Just until you mention that name, Gobert, just to take a step back for a second, go back to that Tim Duncan. We knew Duncan was going to be Gobert defensively good.
Right.
It's amazing how he developed his offensive game so quickly.
Yeah.
And when you say Gobert, I was like, that was half of Duncan, and that's what we knew. That defensive eliteness. We could all see that and envision that and know what that looked like. But the way he developed his offensive game, that first and second, it was just what?
Yeah.
What?
No. I mean,
yeah.
No, Tim Duncan is Tim Duncan. He's just like I said.
But the overarching point, there's levels to this. Even in the conversation we talked about, you made it very clear, and it's absolutely right. That is a level. Being that top 7. That matter, everything like that, and then there's another level.
Yes, absolutely.
And then when we tie it back to Chris Paul's trying to get to that next level, that other level.
Yes, Chris Paul, Chris Paul is in that category of 8, the 10 who matter. Yeah. He's trying to get to, like you said, to being the best player on the team that wins the championship. Yeah, he's trying to get to that 5. Yes, yeah,
and for Chris Paul, that's present day, but then he also has a legacy builder as well.
Right.
On that.
Yes.
Right. So he's not like he gets that chip, he's an immortal.
Oh yeah. He has the most to gain with winning a championship. Like
you're probably saying Isaiah Thomas than him. That's probably the next name that's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, you're talking like Magic. It'll be like Magic, Oscar, Steph, Isaiah. Yeah, and then
All right, okay. We just gonna put everybody there. You're right. Okay,
No, I'm just saying from a historical standpoint.
I didn't even think about Magic as point. I mean, like I know
Magic's a point guard, but Magic is a point. I know Magic is so great that you don't even
Magic. But yes, okay, all right. That's what. Okay, you're right.
You talking about like generation?
I was talking about the traditional.
Oh, got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I got you.
Because I wasn't even honestly putting Steph in that, to be honest with you. So, but you're right when you think about positional. So I need to dial that back a little bit. I do. I probably spoke a little too soon. Kind of that when you think about the quintessential point guard. Let me restate it. If he wins this chip, you're probably thinking Isaiah, then Chris Paul. Is that fair? Like
yes, that's fair. Yes, that's fair.
The basketball.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going like, if we're going to like generational thing, like Isaiah, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kidd. That's a good.
You can't leave Kidd. You can't leave him out. No.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That quintessential point guard, right? Pure point guard. Like, from that standpoint,
that's a good one.
Yeah. Even John Stockton.
Here's what I'll say. I'm going to put no. Stockton doesn't have a championship.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't. Neither does Jason Kidd.
We're talking about the separate.
Jason Kidd does.
That's exactly what I was about to get in there. I was like, if he wins the chip, I'm putting Paul over the Kidd. I am.
Because, absolutely. No, 1,000%. Yeah, no, yeah. The totality of his numbers already. Yeah, the totality of his career, yes, will be better. Yes. Yeah.
Kidd developed his jump shot and did things to make himself relevant later in career. All kudos to him, and that's how he did. That's how he was on that championship team. But that ain't what Chris Paul did.
No, Paul. No, Paul. There's no weaknesses to Paul's game per se. Like there's no.
Like I'm saying, top 7, 5.
Yeah, Paul.
That's the air he's trying to be in.
Right
now.
He's trying to get to that.
Game. Yes.
Like he's locked down Hall of Famer, but he's like I said.
It was not at that point at a similar age. Let's just say that.
No.
Like Kid played till he's 39, right?
What happened?
Kid, because Paul is 37.
About 36, 37, yeah.
Kid played till he was 39, right? Or did he play? Or
when Kid was 36 he was done. Like Kid was shot at 36. Those Dallas years. The first couple of Dallas years he's pretty good, but even when they won a championship, Kid was done. Okay. Yeah, he was done. He was a
little bit more. So so now unprecedented.
Yeah, what Paul is doing, that's why I'm saying that's why I had to get a shout, because like point guards don't age like this. They just don't. Players don't age like point guards. It just doesn't happen. I've never seen a point guard age this well. I've never ever have seen it. Like Magic didn't play as long. He just didn't, because what happened with him. But I've never seen it. Like it's literally never happened that a point guard, as he got older, was playing some of the best basketball in his career. Now I still think the best version of Chris Paul was still somewhere between New Orleans and the Clippers. Like his peak. Physically, all that, but he's playing at right now. Outside of Steph, he's the best point guard in the league. Like that's not even without question. Like he's legitimately an MVP candidate this year. He's going to make first or probably first or second team All NBA. So he's legitimately a top 10 player at the age of when either you're retired or you're just on the decline, where
hanging on,
yes,
championship.
Yeah.
On a contender.
Like Kid was. That's what Kid did in Dallas.
Yeah.
And when we saw that, Gary Payton in Miami,
Yeah.
In LA, yeah. So what he's doing right now is not is historic from that standpoint, that you just don't see it. Like you just don't out of point guard and leading a team, playing at a MVP caliber level, top 10 player, leading a team on a team that can very much win a championship. So yeah, he by far out of players who matter has the most to gain, who actually have a chance to win a championship this year. He has the most to gain from that standpoint. Like Giannis back to back obviously would be just, that would be like, that's just adding to the legend, so to speak. And it'd be like, whoa, how many can he win?
Yeah.
And Steph would be like, it actually would be big for all three of them, to be honest with you. But I think, not Kid, Paul never having won one, that just, that's a whole nother level when you never won one.
Paul has the most games because that does put him in that immortal category.
Yes.
And I know he cares about stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. No, he does. That's why he's still playing. Yeah.
Curry winning another one is just moving him up the ladder of greatness, right? Like that, you're just moving him a peg up on great. So you're just whatever number you had him up, you're just moving him over whoever has less championships. So something like a rudimentary thing like that. And then who's the other player?
Giannis.
I mean, come on now. How many points did he score in that last game? Closeout game? Come on now.
At a 50 piece.
2 back-to-back. Yeah, we just all spotlight is on Giannis. Yep. All spotlights on Giannis. That's when the greatest all-time conversation heat up, chasing George, chasing Ring, all that starts. He goes back-to-back, then he takes it to he's in ridiculous level at that point in time. That's when the big talk starts.
Yeah. So we will see.
Best player right now, Kevin Durant, all that stuff. Stuff.
We will see. We will see what happens in the rest of the NBA season. Obviously, you got the Super Bowl this weekend. Looking forward to a tremendous game. Hopefully, I hope we just get a competitive, wild, classic game that has a little bit of everything. Looking forward to that. We will be back, of course, next week to dissect what should be a very fascinating and intriguing Super Bowl 56. Thank you, Mr. Sapp.
All right, Shra. You have a good one.
All right, you too. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast. I will see you next time. This podcast will be up early tomorrow morning. Have a great, great rest of your evening. So long.